If we had, yes, donate to the school, $ FDMG school on your Cash App. 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 If you need to mail in your donation, make it payable to the FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634. P.O. Box 9634. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware. That is Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. We appreciate $1, but we would rather have 10. We appreciate $20, but we would rather have 50. We appreciate $50, but we would rather have 100. We appreciate $100, but we would rather have 200. We're trying to renovate a school, brothers and sisters. We're trying to renovate a school. We're not fixing a flat tire. We're not fixing a flat tire. We're not opening up a penny candy shop. We're not selling water ices, okay? We're not selling hot dogs. We're renovating a school. Do you understand? Do you understand? So please, brothers and sisters, give what you can. We're building an institution, okay? We're trying to give our children a chance that we didn't have. That's what we're doing. I don't have to pin it because I done already told you what it is. Don't be lazy. $ FDMG school. Don't be lazy. $ FDMG school. Before I continue with my message, thank you, Sister Avanti, $10 coming on the Cash App. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Thank you, sister.
All right, Cookie Crush Chat. Thank you all so much for tuning on in. We're going to do part 2 of this whole Umar Johnson saga with vandalism. Who did it? Was it Umar? Let's go.
FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming.
Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I got this.
FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's 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 coming. Oh, it's coming. FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. Thought his personality be twerking. It's twerking.
All right. Your parrot likes this song. Parrots, they be singing. You know, parrots, they'll sing. They'll repeat stuff. They'll talk back to you. They be rude, too, about it. That's the thing about parrots. They're rude. Monkeys are rude, too. Yeah. Umar is also rude. All right. Let me stop. I'm not going to start acting up to start. Thank you all so much for tuning on in. Everyone inside the Cookie Crush Chat. This is part 2. Umar Johnson, FDMG allegedly vandalized, part 2. So I'm saying allegedly. There's some things I've been thinking about. And this whole Umar Johnson saga, it's been a mess from the start. The thing that I'm noticing is that more and more people are waking up. I'm also noticing that people are starting to question Umar whenever these types, more and more, whenever these types of things come up. And what I mean by that is that there are many other instances of vandalism that have taken place up there at those abandoned buildings since 2019. They sat for 4 years prior to Umar acquiring them, and they were abandoned then. They've sat for another 6 years and 4 months since he acquired these abandoned buildings, and they're still abandoned to this day. No security system. There's cameras out there, but there's no security. No security. The buildings have never been secured. And people are asking questions like, why didn't you erect a fence around these buildings prior to even starting with the renovation process? By the way, Umar said the renovations were done in 2023. He's still working on renovations in 2025. He's a liar. He's a pathological liar. People are saying things like, well, what did you expect? You're always traveling. There's no security. Something's going to happen. That's what happens with abandoned buildings, especially in the hood, which is true. People are saying things like, I think Umar did it himself. That he's doing this as a way of getting more money out of people, but also to extend the grand opening even further. Again, he said it was going to open in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. He already changed the date about 3 months ago to 2026. But it's fascinating that people are starting to ask these types of questions at this point, questions that I've raised and statements that I've actually made over the years. Then with Umar, he's a con man, very crafty. People think that he's smart, but he's really not. People think that he's intelligent. He's really not. I can break this guy down. So it's so easy too at this point. Yesterday, I proved that Umar, and I can prove it 7 different ways at this point, that he's raised over $1 million. And yet in 2025, he's telling people that he hasn't raised $1 million. Why is he telling people that? Well, because he's a con man. Most of the money that he's received, he spent on himself. More and more people are waking up. That's the point. People are also saying some interesting things about the video footage that Umar shared. And I thought about this. Very astute observations, including some of his followers who are now starting to doubt Umar's intent when it comes to these abandoned buildings, this FDMG project. They said things like, you know, the damage inside of that large gym, which he hasn't even shown the large gym in over 5 years. They said that the damage and the paint and all that stuff, that it looks like it's been there for a long time. I agree. I totally agree. See, with Umar, he has to come up with something in order to get people to donate and in order to extend the date, the grand opening date. In my opinion, whatever took place in there, and could it have been Umar? Yes, I don't think so. I give him the benefit of the doubt on this, because I have a video where Umar, he explains that, and shout out to James. We're going to give James his flowers today. Everyone, let's start now. Shout out to James. There's a video where Umar states that he forgets to lock the door to these abandoned buildings. Well, if you're forgetting to lock the doors and you're traveling around the world, and most recently you're gone for over a month, you should expect that someone in this area is going to come by, check the door to see if it's open or unlocked, and go on in. This has been going on forever. Listen, these abandoned buildings are in the middle of the hood. It's a weed and seed community, crime infested, drug infested. There's drug addicts all over the place. There's homeless people all over. There's homeless people that I have video of homeless people sleeping up there on the steps. What do you expect to happen when these buildings are still abandoned, still on the vacant property list? So all of these different factors people have to start to think about. And Umar wants to blame everyone else. But as he tries to blame everyone else, people are starting to wake up. They're saying, wait a minute, when are you going to hold yourself accountable? He's had these abandoned buildings for 6 years and 4 months. That's a long time. He conceptualized FDMG real quick. We're going to get into it. He conceptualized FDMG. A lot of Umar Johnson followers don't know this. In 2004. In 2005, he said he claims that he started building this great institution. In 2010, he posts on his Facebook page that the school's going to open September 11, 2013. He starts raising money for the St. Paul's College in 2014. School was supposed to open 2013, didn't happen. Supposed to open in 2014, didn't happen. 15, 16, 17, 18, didn't happen. And then in 2019, he settles on these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. School was supposed to open 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 in September. And now look at what we got here. Huh? It's like clockwork. I told people this was going to happen anyway. Hit the one. Already told people. All this I told people a long time ago, because it happens every single year. But the difference is this year, again, there's people who are sympathetic and they're trying to give Umar, yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Yeah, that's what he does that to you all the time. He's 50 years old. He doesn't hold himself accountable. And it's wah, 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 womp, 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 womp with this guy all the time. And then you guys fall into it, and that's fine. That's fine. It's all emotionalism. I'm talking about intellect, that when you think about this critically, you realize that there is so much that is wrong with this FDMG school scam. Umar has no intention of opening up a school. He's telling you guys that he hasn't even raised a certain amount of money. And I know for a fact that this guy has raised over $1 million. 2.6, $2.7 million, I can prove. 2.6, 2.7 is my best estimate. I proved yesterday $1,618,354 as a bare minimum. And we're not even counting all the years. We're not counting 2014. Excuse me. We're not counting 2024. We're not counting 2025. And when it comes to Umar Johnson's tax exempt status, we're not even counting 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. This guy's a con man, and more people are waking up. What I like to do during this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to replay the videos, initial 2 videos. They're short, that Umar shows where there's this so-called vandalism that takes place. And what I like to do, I want to do 2 things. I want to just kind of assess the video and to see whether or not it appears as if this is a fresh or new vandalism episode, because there's been quite a few. As a matter of fact, the poll question, how many times has Umar used vandalism, the vandalism excuse? You have 4 options: 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, or more than 3 times. So far, 4% says 1 time, 9% said 2 times, 10% said 3 times, and 77% says more than 3 times. Go and get your vote in. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the show at any given point during this live stream. Shout out to the Click Fresh Chat. Click Fresh Chat is undefeated. Thank you so much, James. So on one hand, I want to look at this and just assess whether or not the vandalism, alleged vandalism that has occurred, is new. Secondarily, I want to assess how significant is this vandalism, critical thinking, how significant that if you are an able-bodied man or woman, that if you have this level of vandalism, how much effort, how much time, and yeah, how much money would it take to correct the vandalism? Okay. More and more people are asking these types of questions, and good. Okay? I've been telling people for a long time. Let's start with the first video, shall we? We're going to do the first one that he posted, the second one that he posted. We covered the video where he's actually talking about a bit of what took place. We covered that yesterday. We're going to skip over that, and we're going to go to the second video where he's standing out there, and I think it's a red hoodie, and he's explaining what took place. All right, real quick, let's do these super chats. Thank you so much. Iceman Vamp says, here goes $5. I know you wanted 10 because you're not fisking a flat tire or selling hot dogs. Yeah, Umar has 6 degrees, as he claims, which is another scam. He actually has 5, which is fine. It's a great accomplishment. But why lie? He lies about so much. Anyone, if you're new to my YouTube page, because I've been having a lot more people come over, because Umar, in essence, whenever he gets into these types of situations, more and more people come back over because they want to hear my analysis of it. They may not necessarily come consistently as I cover others, but when these types of, because there's always something going on when it comes to this guy, when it comes to FDMG. But he'll leave for a month, then he'll come back, and it's always something. And so when we have new people here, I just want to express to you all that if you simply engage in critical thinking about Umar, and in particular about Umar when it comes to FDMG, you realize some things very, very quickly, that he lies a lot. Umar, I have him on record, and you remember this, Iceman Vamp. He said the renovations were complete in 2023. Why lie about that? Well, because he needed money, not to open up a school. Most of the vast majority of that money is going towards Umar. And let me say this: there are people who say, "Well, no, he's not scamming because it's not like he's living a lavish lifestyle." Well, you have to understand what he's doing with the money. Most dope fiends don't live a lavish lifestyle. Most people who have substance abuse issues over time, they don't live a lavish lifestyle. Sometimes they never did. Some of y'all don't want to hear that. But everything that I say here, I can back up with a receipt. When I tell you that Umar's claim that the renovations were complete in 2023, I can pull up the video. When I say that he has a substance abuse issue, I can pull up videos where he's talking about these issues. In one video, he doesn't even know that he's live streaming. And he's talking with Brother Manny, rest in peace, about the drug paraphernalia inside of the school. I have a video where he's talking. A woman calls in. He's in a hotel motel room, and he says, "Hold on, let me go turn the heat down." He goes off camera and takes a big snort and comes back. Well, this guy has a substance abuse issue. No big deal. It's not that big of a deal, unless you're collecting millions of dollars, literally, to open up a school for black boys, and most of the money is going up that nose. See, but you, Umar Johnson followers, you don't want to deal with that. Time always tells the truth. Just be patient. Just like some of y'all didn't want to deal with the fact that the school scam is nothing more than a con to get money out of people. He has no intention of opening up a school. This guy doesn't even have he doesn't even have an FDMG website. He conceptualized this in 2004. 20 years later, he doesn't even have an FDMG website. Okay, some more and more people are waking up. He has a gambling problem too. I can pull up those videos. He has a sex addiction. I can pull up where he finally admits that, because I've been talking about that for a long time, because he sexually exploits these black women. He's a deadbeat. He don't take care of his kids. No, that can't be true. Some of y'all didn't even know he had daughters out here. He has 3 baby mamas. He says he only has 2. He don't claim that third one because the third one was 20 in her early 20s when Umar impregnated her, and he was in his early 40s. What kind of man? See, and I can pull up the child support docket to prove all of this. Everything that I say here, I can back up with receipts. Okay, more and more people are waking up. So getting back to what Iceman Vamp is saying here, if you guys listen to Umar over time and you engage in critical analysis, you realize very quickly that he lies about a lot of things, and it's all about getting money out of people. It's all about sexually exploiting these black women. And so when this Sister Vanti, classic, when she sends Umar a Cash App back in February of 2020, Umar, he's ungrateful and tells her that she should double that amount. For what? To open up a school? No, because Umar needs the money for himself. He's greedy in that way. Just like at a certain point, people get on them substances. It's all about them. It's not about their kids, just like Umar. It's not about their wife, just like Umar. This guy's 50, never been married, never talked about being in a long-standing relationship. At a certain point, they don't even care about themselves, their physical appearance, and that's Umar. So when people say things like, listen, he's not living a lavish lifestyle, yeah, that's because the money, that money gone. And he's always begging for more money. Why? To open up school. I have Umar real quick, and we're going to get to it. I have Umar, he was up there like 1 a.m. He's not doing anything at these abandoned buildings. Why is he up there at 1 a.m. begging for money? What is he going to do at 1 a.m. with people sending him cash apps? And more recently, we have the video where the plug shows up, makes a drop off inside of these abandoned buildings. This will all be inside the documentary. And then exits. And when Umar sees them exit, he ends the live stream very quickly. Then he goes inside and realizes that the door is locked to the teacher's lounge. That's the drop-off spot. And Umar, he starts fiending big time, pacing back and forth, yelling and screaming, going like this on the door. I got to get to my teachers. Ain't no teachers in there. Why are you acting like that, bro? More and more people are waking up. Why are you acting like that? And we were putting the pieces together. Why are you even live streaming? He said, I got to get a locksmith. I got to get a locksmith. This guy, boy, he was fiending so bad. What you need to get a locksmith for? Why you got to get inside that teacher's lounge so bad? Well, that was a drop-off spot. And the plug accidentally locked the door. So what I'm getting at is that when it comes to Umar, the school idea is a lie in and of itself. It's a lie. He lies about so much, including his intent. It's about getting money out of people. Now, does this mean that somehow Umar has always been this way? No, I don't think so. I'm talking about with the substance abuse. I don't think so. I don't think it was this much of an issue, but you see more and more. That's why he looks more and more like a Pookie. Y'all go and look at Umar circa 2005. You look at Umar 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. By the time you get to 2010, you start to notice some things. More and more people are waking up. You got to do the research. This is just one aspect of this, and it ties to Umar. He claims that he's the school psychologist when and where. He lies about everything. Has he been a school psychologist? Yeah, 2010, 2011, have a complete timeline. But he's telling people in 2025 that he's still a school psychologist. He's not. And he's the most requested scholar. He's not. He's never been peer reviewed. He's written 2 books with no source material, no scholarly sources, no sources whatsoever. And then he gets online and he says things like, I'm not fisking a flat tire or selling hot dogs. The more and more you research into Umar, you realize that things do not add up. And then on top of this, the levels, he's so ungrateful for the millions of dollars that you donors have sent to him. When's the last time he's thanked you donors for sending him money? Millions of dollars at this point. 2.6, $2.7 million. I can prove 7 different ways over $1 million. Some things to think about. I want to encourage you guys, if you're new here, to just dig into this a little bit deeper. You don't even got to watch my videos consistently. Just start doing your own research into Umar. You realize at a certain point, if you're really asking critical questions, you realize that he's nothing more than a con man. He's a scam artist. Real talk. Talking about he's fisking a flat tire or selling hot dogs. Thanks, Iceman Van, for the super chat. Real quick, let me do these other ones. Black Wolf says, well, there was the granny archers. I remember that. I thought they are around the clock FDMG security. Damn it, they must have been asleep. Yeah, he had granny archers at the first block party. I don't remember if he had. Did he have them at the second one? I don't think he had them at the second one, Black Wolf. Clearly, though, there is no security. I remember, and shout out to Napa Yankee. I remember Napa Yankee posted a video where Umar had hired a guy from around the way to sit out there inside of a chair. And then that was the security. That didn't last too long. But the buildings have never been secured. After 6 years and 4 months, there's no excuse for that. These guys raise millions of dollars. Umar says on average, he raises $125,000 a year. He's been raising money since the St. Paul's College in particular. He was raising money for other stuff going back before that. St. Paul's College since 2014. Well, that's 11 years. You can simply take $125,000. This is one of the ways you can prove that he's raised over $1 million, but I have 7 ways that you can prove it. And you can get up to $1.6 million, excuse me, just by looking at his IRS filings. And that doesn't even count all the years that he's been collecting money. You can take $125,000 and multiply it by 11 years, and that's $1.375 million. $1,375,000. You mean to tell me that Umar, after collecting, and this is a bare minimum, it's way more than this, 2.6, 2.7, but after collecting $1,375,000, that he could not have erected a fence to secure these buildings? Where's the money go? Okay, we can subtract the purchase price of $400,000. Umar says that a little more than that, so we'll say $425,000. Okay, well, there's about $950,000 still left up for grabs. Where'd that money go? We can say, well, he purchased an HVAC. I think he said for $25,000, if memory serves me correctly, $25,000. Thought it might have been 50, but that gets us, there's about $925,000. He had to pay off taxes, and I'm going to assume that he was the one that paid it off. Property taxes for these abandoned buildings because he didn't have his paperwork in order in 2019 and 2020. That's wasted money. It was about $110,000. If he had his tax exempt status paperwork in order, none of that, he wouldn't have been on the book for that. You donors, you Umar Johnson fathers who sent them money for FDMG, you wouldn't have to waste it was about $110,000. I'm going to assume that he paid those himself. So we're going to, and he may not have. He never provides any receipts, anything. That's a red flag in and of itself. No transparency whatsoever. We're going to subtract $110,000. Well, there's still about $815,000 that's missing. Okay. Let's just take out, just to be kind, we'll take out another $150,000. Just let's say for whatever. That gets us to $665,000 that's missing. And this is if we say that Umar is raising $125,000 a year for the last 11 years. I'll propose that it's way more than that. In fact, there was 1 year back in the day where he said that on each month he was raising $100,000. I'm gonna leave it right there. He's a con man. Okay, no security around the clock or otherwise to this day. Okay, 6 years and 4 months later, there's no excuse for that. And he can't blame anyone else because he's had the money to at least erect the fence, to have security cameras everywhere. Some things to think about. Thanks, Black Wolf. Sal says, I don't trust him. I don't either. Okay, I don't trust Umar. I wouldn't trust him with anything, period. He paid those kids to vandalize that gym. Then all of a sudden he needs $100,000 for electricity. What? What do you mean $100,000 for electricity? Where did that figure come from? He throws out figures all the time, and they're just rounded figures. It's never like, you know, where I need $62,398.27. He never does that. He just throws figures out there, and it's because he needs money. Electricity for what too, Sal? Maybe that's in the second video. We'll get to that today. See, Umar comes up with figures. What he tends to do is he understates how much money he's collected, and he overstates how much money he needs. He's been doing this for 11 years. That's why he's still telling people in 2025 that he hasn't collected $1 million. Even though in 2016 he said we need another $1 million, we almost got $1 million. Okay, well that's we almost got it's about let's say it's $950,000. You mean to tell me that since 2016 Umar hasn't raised $50,000 more dollars? It's ridiculous. He's a con man. See, and all of this will be inside the documentary because I can prove 7 different ways how Umar Johnson has raised at least $1 million, and it gets up there to where it's over $2 million, depending on how you want to calculate it. And there's no transparency with this guy. Okay. I'm wondering if that 100,000, maybe that's what he's talking about in that second video. We're going to get to that one today. Okay. And again, Sal, he comes up with figures all the time. Remember the blueprints? I think he said something like $20,000. He said it's 20 pounds and he said it's $20,000. And I was thinking to myself, so basically it's $1,000 per pound. That's how he's calculating this shit. Has he ever shown any paperwork for how much it costs for these blueprints? Has he ever shown the blueprints? Folded them out and let people see them? Has he ever shown the purchase price for these abandoned buildings? Has he ever stated how much exactly he paid allegedly for these abandoned buildings? Has he ever shown exactly how much he paid for this HVAC unit? And the list goes on and on and on. See, the lack of transparency that puts him in a position where he doesn't have to disclose how much money he's collected. Again, all this is about the money. Yeah, he's not living a lavish lifestyle. Yeah, but that's because he's tricked off most of the money on his own self-destructive lifestyle. This guy's been homeless since 2019. I showed the receipt yesterday. And when he doesn't have a hotel motel room, they call him out, they bring him out to speak, or when he doesn't have money to pay for one, he stays inside of his mama's closet in Section 8 housing. This guy has a substance abuse problem. That's why. Mental health issues too. Mind you, there was a time where Umar, he was dressing all nice. He would have suits. He would buy, at a certain point, he was all types of dashikis, nice pants, nice shoes, so forth and so on. Okay, a lot of that money went towards that back in the day. But as the substance abuse has gotten worse and worse, Umar he cares less and less about his personal appearance and these types of things. In fact, he doesn't even care about owning his own vehicle or having his own place to stay. That's why he doesn't live a lavish lifestyle. It's not uncommon. I don't get it. Black people, some of y'all, grew up around it. I grew up around it, and yet you want to deny what's in plain sight with Umar. Okay, but that's fine. Time always tells the truth. Okay. Thanks, Al. 70 Best says, you on fire tonight already? Okay. We haven't even gotten into the video yet. Thank you so much, 70 Best. 70 Best has been around a long time. I want to thank everyone too for being here and sticking with me. It has been it's been a bumpy road at times, but I think that it's and I know it's been all worthwhile. There's people in this chat room, and I don't know, 70 Best, if you ever follow Umar, but there's people inside this chat room that used to follow Umar back in the day. I know that there are people, and recently there was someone who commented and said, yeah, I believed in this whole FDMG. There's people who are saying things like, oh, I'm so disappointed, in Umar, and I believe, but the thing is that Umar, he's a master manipulator. And I don't say that as, and I don't say it as hyperbole. He's a master manipulator. He manipulates people over and over again. He's a great deceiver over our time in the Black conscious space. That's what he's done. It's only through manipulation that Umar has raised $2.7 million. And in 2025, he's telling people that he hasn't even raised $1 million. You can just look at his IRS filings and it's $1 million right there. That's from 2020 to 2023. We're not counting 2024. We're not counting 2025. We're not counting all the years prior to 2020. People can argue, because I'm always fair. Well, Lenon, when you say that in 2020, you're saying that he had 500. Well, that's what he reported. It was over $500,000. Was it $518,048 raw cash in a non-interest bearing account? Well, couldn't that have been all the money that he raised prior to that? Is that what he's talking about? No, that's not what he's talking about. Because I have him on record back in 2015, stating that he had raised $500,000 in a year and a half. That's 2015. 2016, 17, 18, and then in 2019, he still only has $518,000 in cash. Where'd all that money go then? Where's the rest of that money go? What about all the money that he collected after 2015 up until 2020? He's a con man. Yeah. We're going to stay on it. We're going to stay on it. Thank you, 70 Event, for super chat. Thanks for being here too. I appreciate you. Black Wolf gifted a membership. Thank you so much. And gifted another membership. Thank you so much. If you guys can thank Black Wolf for gifting memberships, I appreciate that. And whoever received them, make sure you take the time to thank Black Wolf. Also, I want to again give a shout out to brother Dion, because he's helped tremendously. Okay, I appreciate you, bro. All right, let me get to these other ones real quick, and we'll get to the video. Smitty Boy says Umar got an eighth of a jar. Yeah. He got an eighth of a jar and a tenth of a job. Real quick, you Umar Johnson followers, you guys know that Umar hasn't worked consistently since 2010, 2011. He gave up his career as a school psychologist back in 2010, 2011 to pursue this Black conscious speaking. I don't know what it is. Grift. I don't like using that word, but really that's what it is. And yet in 2025, he's telling people that he's still a school psychologist. How is he a school psychologist in Philadelphia, or anywhere else for that matter, but in Philadelphia in particular, because that's what Mama calls it. He stayed at Mama Claus in Philadelphia. You got to have some residence somewhere, right? How is he a school psychologist and the school year just ended in the Philadelphia school district? And yet he's been traveling for the last 30 days. Prior to that, he was up there to trap banners a couple of times, and he was traveling prior to that for about 3 weeks. Isn't he supposed to be a school psychologist somewhere? No, because he got a tenth of a job. Now let me stop anyway. He's a con man. He lies to people and he manipulates people, and people believe that he's a school psychologist, and he's telling people in 2025 that he's not. Listen, any of you Umar Johnson followers, I want you to go online today, because this should all be public record. And I want you to find where Umar Johnson is working in 2025. And provide me with the receipt. You can email it to me, LenonHonor@yahoo.com. And I'll cash app you $100. This should be very easy, because if you went online right now and you looked up your child's school and just look for the school psychologist, you'll be able to find it probably within 2 minutes. If you know how to look, probably less than a minute, right? Well, then why can't you find any record of Umar being a school psychologist in 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14? And yet he's telling people in 2025 that he's still the school psychologist. There's people who believe him. Okay, as a master manipulator. Thanks, Smitty Boy, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Iceman Vampal said he hired a lazy security guard, but he pulled up to FDMG and the guy was at home. Never misses an opportunity to talk bad about Black workers. Yeah, that's another thing about Umar. And maybe he says that in the second video. I don't know, Iceman Vampal, because I haven't watched it yet. But he did. I do have the video. I just don't remember how I archived it. What I'll do is during this live stream, I'll find it and I'll play it where he actually hired someone. This is I believe it was in 2019. Shout out to Nappy Yankee. He's the one that went up there and talked with the man. He was an older man, and he would sit up there inside of a chair, and that was the security back then. Yeah, see, I don't remember what the title of that would be. But I'll go back into Nappy Yankee's archive and see if I can find it. Yeah, I'll find it. Anyway, part of what Umar has done consistently over the years is to disparage Black people, Black parents, Black children, Black mothers, and Black fathers. He's also disparaged Black workers, the contractors. He made up all these fictional stories about them too. That's the other thing when he gets to lie, to paint narratives. He's a pathological liar. He creates all this. It's amazing because in some level, I think he starts to believe it. He's mentally unstable in this way. So earlier on, and this is long, Iceman, if you remember this, this isn't a recent phenomenon. This was going back years ago, where he would say things about the Black contractors, the Black painters, not the painters, the Black electricians in particular. You guys remember this? The black roofers. That was a time he was complaining about them and how they were lazy and they weren't doing the work. They were overcharging. But he concocted a big story about the electricians and how they were stealing out of the school. Why would they be stealing? And stealing what? They're abandoned buildings. What are they going to steal? See? But it's just disparaging. It's disparaging towards black people. And then he always blames black people. You know, he's blamed me for shit. I mean, I ain't got nothing to do with none of that. None of it. Okay? But he has to blame someone because he never holds himself personally accountable for anything. If you guys do your research to Umar Johnson followers, if you stuck around long enough, or even if you're not Umar Johnson followers, maybe this is your first time checking out my videos, go look up narcissism and study it for a while. Okay, not for a day or not for a week, but study it for a couple of months. You can look up Dr. Ramani on YouTube. There's some great books that you can look up too, because this is something I studied many years ago. But I just actually I'll take time from time to time just to study it even more. Not as much as I used to, but I've put in enough to have a basic understanding of it. Go look up what narcissistic personality disorder is. Look up what are the narcissistic personality traits, and then start watching Umar Johnson videos. You realize very quickly what's going on here. Okay? So one of the characteristics of narcissists is that they don't ever want to hold themselves accountable for anything. It's always someone else's fault. Well, that's Umar. And he'll go so far, Iceman Vamp, as to disparage black contractors, black electricians, so forth and so on. Most of his rhetoric is negative towards black people anyway, if you guys listen very carefully. It's always disparaging black people. There's snow bunny hoppers, they're not doing anything for the black community, blah, blah, blah. Shannon Sharp this and Charles Barkley this. Meanwhile, he lived inside his mama Claus, has been homeless since 2019 and hadn't had a job consistently since 2010, 2011, is a deadbeat, been on child support for over 20 years and don't pay his child support on time. Yeah, I have him on record saying that he pays his child support in bulk. What kind of man? What kind of father? Okay. So as the story goes real quick with the electricians, Umar, he gets them to come up there and he paid them too. He paid them some, I think it was $60,000 or something like that. I can't remember if it was 60 or 16,000. I can't remember. I have the video where someone called them and spoke with them, and they explained what took place. And what took place basically was that Umar, he hired them to come in and do some work to get some electricity turned on one side of the street. That's the small building, what he calls the small school. They come in and they do work, and at a certain point, Umar, he fires them. Not because they were stealing anything out of the school, because there's nothing in the school to steal. These are professionals, licensed and all of that. But because they're black, Umar has to concoct a story. Why does he do that too? Why does he fire them? Because he doesn't want to spend any more money. But what he wanted, this is how crafty he is. This is the type of person y'all dealing with. Umar Johnson followers. You got to really think about this. What he wanted to do was to have them come in and do just enough work to make it seem as if he was making serious progress at these abandoned buildings. This is probably in 2020. Yeah, 2020. And once they get just enough electricity on to make it look as if he's made some big moves, he fires them. And then concocts a story as to why he didn't want to deal with them anymore, because they were lazy and they weren't showing up on time and they were overcharging and they were stealing from the school. None of that was true. He went into contract, then breaks the contract, and they never finished the work. It's still not finished to this day. That's why there's still exposed wires hanging out of the ceiling and what he calls a small school. He ain't done nothing over there on the other side of the street. No electricity was ever turned on the other side of the street. He admits that. He admitted that he didn't even want to deal with the other side of the street because the amount of work that needs to go in there is far more than what needs to take place at these small abandoned buildings. And the amount of damage over there on that side of the street it far exceeds the damage that was on the other side of the street. So he focuses on that small building. He's focused on the small gym. But he gets just enough electricity on to give what I call the illusion of progress. And once he gives the illusion of progress, the Umar Johnson followers, they went crazy they love that. But why did he do that? To get more money out of you. He's crafty. He's a master manipulator. That's what he is. Okay. And it works. What he does, it works. See, but he's not as intelligent as he thinks he is. I'm not the brightest bulb inside of the refrigerator. I'm not. But I got some damn sense. And I'm intelligent enough, have enough critical thinking skills. And I've studied this guy enough and researched this guy enough to know exactly what he's doing when he's manipulating people. And unfortunately, Iceman, there are a lot of people, they just don't realize that quite yet. But more and more people are waking up. Okay. Thanks, Iceman Vamp, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay, let me get to these others. We got to go. I do appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay. Lewis Lex says, I'll be damned if I give the money I put in a hard 40 hours to a person who ain't working and is on the internet all day. At the very least, people should be tired of constantly being hit up for money. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And see, it would be different, I think, if Umar had transparency and he was able to consistently, and he chose to consistently prove what he's doing with the money. But there's so much money that's missing, and he's still lying to people. And that in and of itself, to anyone Umar Johnson follows, let me ask you a question. Why would Umar tell people in 2025 that he hasn't even reached $1 million? When if you just look at his tax filings from, I don't mean to belabor this, from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and that's it, just for 4 years, and just for the tax filings for those 4 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, 24 hasn't come out yet, 2025 obviously hasn't come up with, but just in 4 years, you can prove that he's raised $1 million. In point of fact, just by the paperwork, you will prove that Umar has raised $1.6 million at a bare minimum in 4 years. So why does he tell people that he hasn't raised that amount of money? He tells people that he hasn't even raised $1 million. Well, because it's all about keeping the money for himself. He spent the money already. That's why he couldn't even start renovations in 2019 after he acquired these abandoned. He couldn't even start because he had no money left. That's why he gets evicted in 2019, because the money was gone. And people could argue, well, Lenon, you're including the cash that he had in a non-interest bearing account in 2019. No, I don't have to count that. That's just what he's just what he's saying, telling the IRS that he had for a particular EIN number that gets established in 2020. We're not talking about the other EIN number that got established in 2014, possibly 2015, but by 2017 gets revoked. That's separate. He don't got to report that. That's a whole separate EIN number. Ooh, now y'all see. He's a con man. So, yeah, I would like to think that people, and I would think that people have already, many of the people who used to send Umar money consistently, large amounts of money, that they've already said to themselves, I'm not going to send this guy any money anymore, because that money can go towards their kids. It can go towards, put some food in the household. It can go towards paying some bills, get yourself a new car, whatever the case may be, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure there are people who no longer send Umar money because they realize what the game is. See, let's say that FDMG, real quick, and I don't mean to go off those, but let's say that FDMG opening up a school is like playing in the Super Bowl, right? You have to prepare the team to play, and you play to win the game. You don't play to lose. You play to win the game, right? But there's so much that goes into preparing yourself so that when you get to the Super Bowl, you have a fighter's chance. Opening up FDMG. All along the way, and in this case for Umar, since 2014, we're just going to go from 2014, even though we can go back to 2010. He said that the school was open 2013. We're just going to say from 2014. From 2014 to current, 11 years, people have been sending this guy money for different school scams: St. Paul school scam, the Detroit school scam, the Florida school scam, the Mount Vernon school scam, Los Angeles school scam. So they're investing in the team so that the team can be prepared to ultimately get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl when FDMG opens in 2087, give or take a month or two. But what happens if people are investing this money, sending this money to this team so that they have the best chance to be prepared to win and get into the playoffs, ultimately get into the Super Bowl, and then win the Super Bowl? But what happens along the way is that the team does not perform for first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth year, 10th year, 11th year. In fact, the Super Bowl, they're not even in contention. They didn't even make the playoffs. The playoffs, I'm just trying to win a game. That's Umar. What are we talking about? We're talking about practice. See? The team was lazy. The team was shiftless. The team was out in the clubs, talking about they want to see fat asses. That's what Umar said. I got the video. Singing Tupac in the club, tippy toe jam, and all this talk. The team's not working a job. It's free money. They're not practicing anything. What are we talking about? Y'all see? They living in their mama closet at age 50? Huh? They ain't taking care of their kids. The money you sending, they ain't even putting the money on their kids. Damn, pimp. Talking about next time make it 20. Trifling ass black people. All y'all got to send me some $250,000. Trifling ass black people, whatever he said. I can go on. That's not what y'all sent the money for, right? Hit the one. He said me and Vietnam set me off. Listen, that's not what y'all sent the money for. So that this bum ass team can keep bumming. So what has happened? Lewis Luck. Shit, Iceman Man too. I don't care. Smitty boy, Iceman Man. 7-8 vets out here, but what has happened is more and more people are waking up. And they're saying, I'm not going to be putting down my hard-earned money while this bum is not even performing. He's not even trying to get to the Super Bowl, let alone win. He's just content with getting the money and then making excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse as to why the team's not performing. It's a one-man team. Making excuse after excuse after excuse. I'll say it 3 times, excuse for why the team didn't make the playoffs. Making excuse after excuse after excuse as to why the team didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Making excuse after excuse after excuse as to why the team didn't win the Super Bowl. And then he wants to blame everyone else and not hold himself accountable. Umar Johnson, like the narcissist that he is. It's everyone else's fault, including you donors. Damn. You see? Umar's not as intelligent as he thinks he is. He just plays as if online. He plays games. That's what he do. He be doing too much. You're doing too much. Damn, what are you doing too much? See, that's Umar. And he's full of people. He's full of so many people that we're gonna win the Super Bowl. We're gonna open up FDMG. We're gonna have some pigs. We're gonna get some black pigs. And if you keep hating on me, I'm gonna throw a mice on your ass. That's what Umar said. And we're gonna teach the boys how to float ships. I said we're gonna teach the boys how to float ships. I said my Canalasian Africans, my Ethiopian Africans, my Chicago Africans, my and yo, I don't mean to do this, and yet you, Umar Johnson, you think he gonna win the Super Bowl? Come on now, stop. I'm gonna leave it right there. I apologize. I couldn't help myself. Thank you, Luther, for the super chat. Deron, what's up, man? Tillman says his thinking cap, aka thinking of his next line. Yeah, I saw Umar had a cap on and said thinking cap. That's amazing in and of itself, you know. And listen, Umar, the way that he thinks, and I said this a long time ago, and I remember there were people who got mad at me, and I said that Umar's criminal minded, and he is. There's people who are criminal minded and they get reformed. He's criminal minded and he has no intention of being criminal minded. Real quick, Deron, anybody else, good for chat. Understand that Umar, he's not trying to practice to win the game of life or to open up a school. He's not trying to get to the playoffs. He's not trying to be excellent at anything. He just runs his mouth. He's not trying to get to the Super Bowl or even win the Super Bowl. That's not what he's doing. Understand that what Umar is doing is he's trying to survive. That's it. That's all this is. His ability to orate, it's really an outgrowth of him trying to survive. Him claiming to want to open up a school for Black boys is really symptomatic of his need to survive. Him claiming to be a school psychologist and lying to people and saying that he's the most requested scholar and lying to people and telling people to get on your Cash App and get on your PayPal and get on your GoFundMe and get on your Plum Fund and send in your checks and money orders and cash to the P.O. box. It's all because Umar is trying to survive. He's in the game not to win. He's in the game not to lose. And there's a difference. He's in survival mode. And you'll find that people who are in survival mode and who have been in survival mode for decades, they become criminal minded because they have to find a way at any expense, including other people's detriment, you donors, to survive, to get money to survive, not to get money to have his own place at the age of 50, or to raise his children at the age of 50, or to own his own car at the age of 50, or to marry a woman and build a family at the age of 50. No, that's not why he's doing, or to educate Black boys at the age of 50, or to open up a school at the age of 50. That's not what Umar is doing. That was never about any of that. It was about survival. And so, Deron, what has happened with Umar is that he has developed the ability to lie pathologically in order to paint false narratives so that he can continue to get money out of people, so that he can continue to survive. Thanks, brother, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Let me get these other ones. King Flu says, I got receipts. He was messing with trans. We're not going to do that. Now, I'm not going to do that. Listen, that's beyond the scope. There were people who were saying things like Umar was gay. Listen, I have no receipts on that. People have said all kinds of things about Umar that I know it was just not true. Okay, I can't feed into that. I can't do that. See, Umar's lied about me. He called me gay. He said I used to mess with. He said I mess with little boys. That's what he said. See, I'm not going to turn around and lie on him simply because he's lied on me. See, that's an ethical thing. Now, you may have receipts. I really don't want to see them. Okay, I don't. But just because someone says something, it doesn't make it true. Just because Umar says that I mess with little boys doesn't make it true. I mean, that was really low for Umar too. I was mad at him when he did that. I forgave him. It is what it is. But see, I'm going to say this. Umar can't fuck with me intellectually. I'm talking about as a critical thinker. Now, he may know stuff like when it comes to Black history or African history and that type of shit. Okay, I get that. But I'm talking about intellectually, one-on-one, if we're talking point by point, and we did a debate point by point on FDMG, Umar would not be able to fuck with me intellectually. See, my critical thinking skills is far beyond his. In fact, in order for an individual to develop high levels of critical thinking skills, they have to actually get out of the mindset of survival, because survival, it compromises proper intellectual process. He wouldn't be able to fuck with me like that. He couldn't. See, that's why I can call him out on shit and I can expose him over and over again on different issues too. That's an intellectual thing. It's not emotion. Okay. He upset me back in the day, but I forgave him. He doxed my personal information, talking about he gonna pull up team and he gonna pull up. He ain't gonna do shit. Okay. I get it. I understand where he was coming from, because that's how he deals with things, not with intellectualism. That's not, he plays like a school psychologist online. He plays as if he's a PsyD online. He plays as if he's the most requested scholar online. But none of that's true in the real world. I'm talking, and all that, it's all emotionalism too. That's why he has to say the shit over and over again. He has to repeat the shit 3 times to tap into your subconscious mind and manipulate you and deceive you into thinking that he's something that he's not, just like Sauron did in the Rings of Power. I don't have to do that shit. I can pull up the receipt point by point, and Umar, intellectually speaking, critical thinking, he doesn't have it like that. So what I'm getting at is that there are people who have said things about Umar that I know is not true. And I'm not going to go along with it simply because they say. Now, if you have receipts, that's different. Okay. All right. But I'm not going to put that out there without actually seeing the receipts and stuff being verified. See, because Umar's done that with me. See, there's people who said I was gay, and he runs with it. See, but he never took the time. He's supposed to be a scholar. He didn't go through an intellectual process point by point to ask critical questions as to the veracity of what was being stated. Anyone can say anything. Shit, I can say I got a pink elephant in the next room that can fly and shits out gold bricks. I can say that. Does it mean that it's true? No. So I'm not going to do that. And just because Umar lied about me does not mean that I'm going to lie about Umar, because two wrongs don't make a right. And that's real talk. That's called integrity. Umar does not have it. I like to think that I do. Okay. I've always been fair with Umar. Now, if you have those receipts, listen, it is what it is, but I just don't want to put that out there like that, because I just think that that's beyond the scope. Okay. If you guys want to do a video to talk about it, you're more than welcome. You send me a link. I'll take a look. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Lewis Stark says, didn't the water company do some work on the street near the building a few years ago, unrelated to the school, and he lied and said he called them? Yeah. See, this is what I mean, and I could find it, Lewis Stuck. Matter of fact, it'll be in a documentary, because I'll get to that inside the time. I wish I could find it like right now. I just don't remember the year. I don't remember what month of that kind of thing. But what happened, this is what I mean by Umar is a liar, and he's a pathological liar. He wants to give people the illusion of progress. So the city was out there, and they were doing road work. Okay? There were pipes out there. We covered this years ago. They were putting pipes in. They were digging up the ground. They had a back, what they call that, one of them tractors that back digs out the thing from whatever. I want to say a backhoe, something like that, but that sounds, damn. And so Umar, he's out there. Ain't got nothing to do with him. There was cones on the street. Ain't got nothing to do with him. But he plays it off as if they're doing work for the school. See, now this is why when people say they think that Umar did the vandalism inside of this gym, this is why it's believable. I don't think that he did, though, to be honest with you. And I always give Umar the benefit of the doubt. You see how fair I'm fair with this guy. Okay, he's been totally unfair to me, but that's Umar. Okay, he's emotional. See, in the absence of proper intellectual process, what you'll find is that people they'll go to ad hominem. They start making up lies about the other people. They start yelling and shit and raising their voice. If Umar and I sat down, I would treat him like a little boy that he is, and I would just talk calmly, point by point, ask him a question. He'll start talking about other shit and talking in circles. That's what these scam artists do, and then I'll bring his ass right back to the question. So, well, Umar, you didn't answer the question. I'll ask it again. And in real talk, Umar, it's really a yes or no answer. How much money have you raised since 2014? Well, first we had to get the HVAC family, and then after that we had to get there was a squirrel in the. No, we ain't talking about all of this and the squirrel and the schools that got their back blowed out. That's how we read the. One time he said they were showing them schools. He said they were showing me all these broke down schools and schools that got their back blown out. I said, Umar, that's not, it's a yes or no question. Okay. And then he started getting mad and all belligerent and huffy. I said, sit your ass down, boy. Stop acting like a little boy. I don't raise kids. 5 of them. I used to tell my son, I said, get it together. Come on, just get it together. I don't want to hear all that. And I'll leave it right there. I don't yell or nothing like that. Okay, that's how I'll do Umar. Anyway, let me get back on track here. Umar pretends as if they're doing work for FDMG. Had nothing to do with that whatsoever. But see, if he gets out there and he acts like they're doing work, it gives what? The illusion of progress. You see how this works? He's a master manipulator. He's a master manipulator, a con man. And that's precisely what he did with what Lewis Stuck is referring to. I'll have to find the video. I remember to have it downloaded. And Umar, he thinks he's slick, but he's not as smart as he thinks that he is. He just acts as if he is online. See, Intelligence is something different. Wisdom is something different too. I would propose that Umar lacks intelligence, because you can use intelligence to benefit your life to where you're not living inside your mama's closet, so that you can have your own vehicle, so that you can have your own home and you can take care of your kids. Y'all understand what I'm saying? See, there are people who are, let's say, intellectually disabled, and they just don't have the intellectual aptitude to be able to take care of themselves. Well, Umar doesn't have it either. He can run his mouth though real good, the oratory, but that's just it's a survival mechanism more than anything else, you know. And he lies to people and pretends that he's this. He'll even pretend that they're doing work on the school when they ain't got nothing to do with it. They don't even know who Umar is. Yep, I remember that. He's a con man. Thanks, Louis Love. A lady says, let's get liked up to my cookie-coated Africans. Yes, if y'all can hit that like button. Okay, we're going to get to the video now. We're already an hour in. I'll tell myself we're going to get right on into this and get going. Let's see. There is a poll question. We have 610 votes, 620 now. Oh, it's going up. It's still going up. How many times has Umar used the vandalism excuse? 4% said one time, 9% said 2 times, 15% said 3 times, 72% said more than 3 times. Make sure you get your vote in. We're gonna rewatch the 2 short vandalism videos. I want to point some things out based upon what I saw people commenting on different pages that posted these videos. So that fascinating. You see more and more people waking up. There's still people who still believe this foolishness, and they want to sympathize with Umar, but he does that on purpose. But more and more people are asking critical questions. Okay. Thanks, lady. I appreciate that. Thanks for being a member. Arrogant People says, why have valuables in an unsecured building? Yeah, so in particular, the books. Umar says 5,000 books. Where did he get that figure from? That's a lot of books. I didn't see 5,000 books in there. That's another critical question people ask as we rewatch this video. See, how much damage was really done? Is it possible that Umar did this himself? He said 5,000 books were damaged. Did we see 5,000 books in there damaged? No. At least I don't remember seeing that. How extensive was the vandalism too, by the way? Was it really, really that big of a deal? How much time is it going to cost? How much money is it going to cost to rectify that? See, critical questions like that, right? So the question is, why have valuables in an unsecured building? Well, because Umar doesn't have a home. He doesn't have anywhere else to put them. He has bags of clothes, his clothes in there. He got picture frames in there from his old residence from 2019. He doesn't have a place to stay. It doesn't make sense, though. In the bigger scheme of things, this guy's raised millions of dollars. You should at least have your own place to stay, or use some of the money to buy a storage and put your stuff in there. But Umar, that's not what he recognized over 6 years ago, that he can simply use these abandoned buildings, because he wasn't going to be opening up anytime soon, and just store his personal belongings in there. And that's precisely what he's done. Okay? Now, arrogant people, is it 5,000 books? No, I don't think so. You know, could it be 500? Yeah, maybe. Right? 100? Yeah, I can see 100. But 5,000? No, that's just a figure Umar throws out there. There's no evidence for that. That's the thing. We should always ask critical thinking, where's the evidence for this? And does the evidence prove that he had 50,000 books or 5,000 books in there? Whatever he said. I think he said 5,000. There's no evidence that proves that to be the case. See, just like I haven't seen any evidence that he's dealing with trans. So I can't say that. I can't put that out there. See? And there's no evidence that I've seen that actually proves it. Evidence, it can be something, but I don't mean that that it proves anything. Anyone can say anything. Anyone can fabricate so-called evidence. Doesn't mean that it proves any given claim to be true. See, I'm always fair with Umar. I do know this. When we watch this video, we'll see. Did we see 5,000 books? No, we don't see 5,000 books. And how long was that damage there? It looks like it wasn't recent, in my opinion. Right? Thanks, Eric and people. And then King Flu says, I will email you screenshots. He paid $1,700 for a train. Okay, if you have it, send it to me. Okay, and I'll do my due diligence. If I'm able to verify what you send to me, and then if I'm able to corroborate it, and then I know it to be true based upon the evidence, and the evidence proves it to be true, then I would share it with people. Okay, but I got to go step by step by step. That's how I do things. It's called integrity. Okay, all right. My email is LenonHonor@yahoo.com. All right, and thanks for super chat. Holly B says there are holes in the ceiling, and he doesn't even have furniture. Where on earth did he get and store them? And why there? He knows it's unsecured. Yeah, you're right about that. Let me read this again. There are holes in the ceiling to this day, even though he said renovations were complete back in 2023. And he doesn't even have furniture. That's another thing. There's no furnishings for these abandoned buildings yet. He got some dilapidated desk inside the gym because he's turned that into storage space too. Where's he going to get the money to furnish these abandoned buildings, to get the IT infrastructure at a certain point? He said the school is going to open in September. He's not even close. Not even close. Where on earth did he get and store them? And why there? He knows it's unsecure. Yeah. In fact, I have the video where he says he forgets to even lock the doors. He claimed he has an alarm system. What you mean? You got an alarm system on one side of the street, and you got one on the other side of the street, but the other side of the street never had electricity? How you got an alarm system? Here we go. We're going back to 2019 when he was lying, 2020. He lies all the time. Thanks, Holly B, for being a member. I appreciate you. And then the Geek Surgeon says, Lenon, when is the government going to foreclose on, or government going to foreclose on the bando? Someone sent me some information, and they did say that there's different ways that the city could foreclose or take the properties from Umar. In my opinion, I think it's more likely that Umar will sell these buildings before they're taken away. That's what I think. That's what I think. And or he'll get hemmed up with the IRS for tax evasion and fraud and wire fraud with these EIN numbers. That may happen before these properties are taken from him. But I think for Umar, because it's about survival, it's more likely that he'll simply sell them and move on to the next scam. And we're gonna try another school because there's too much vandalism here, and we're gonna go some other place and blah. And then he starts all over again. He spends the next 5 years trying to find another building, just like he spent 5 years since 2014 to 2019 to get these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. And he just resets. That's what scam artists do. Okay, they just reset over and over again. The Geek Surgeon, thank you so much for the super chat. Just like Jay Morrison, he tried to reset by getting into the Christian space. It just didn't work. His reputation precedes him. Okay? He'll never get the type of money he was getting with the Tulsa real estate fund and scamming with that. He'll never get that type of money ever again in his life. He's always in survival mode too. He just acts as if he's bling bling, and he ain't. All right. Real quick, Octavia Life Music, like the title, says, Lenon, I've been wanting, you do music? Let me know. Lenon, I've been wanting to catch one of your lives to ask, do you think he has, and then we'll get to it. We'll get to the videos. Do you think he has more of a mental problem versus intentional deception? Seems like he's brilliant, but has a mental issue. I really want to know. I think it's both. This is what I mean by criminality and being criminal minded. On one hand, Umar has mental problems, and there's different things. Paranoid schizophrenic. I can pull up a video where Umar, he's seeing things. He's saying that he's seeing footprints being pressed into the snow. He doesn't use that exact terminology. I'm paraphrasing here, but there's a footprint in the snow that wasn't there before, and he heard the foot, step into the snow. But it was only him there. There wasn't anyone else there. This is live. This is just one example. Okay, there's plenty of other examples too. I'm just giving you guys one example. There's nothing there. So in addition to seeing things that weren't there, he's also hearing things that aren't there. And then the paranoia, he's always looking around, he's looking around and he thinks, paranoid, schizophrenic, I think he's a sociopath, real talk. Narcissistic personality trait, sense of overimportance, grandiosity. That's Umar. I'm the most requested scholar. I'm King Kong consciousness. I'm the Prince of Pan Africanism. All these self-proclaimed titles, that's part of the narcissism. Never wanting to hold himself accountable. It's always someone else's fault. Speaking as if he has all of these accomplishments, but in his real life, it's not commensurate to that. In other words, he's overstating what he has done and achieved, when in point of fact, he hasn't achieved and done nearly half of what he says. That's the narcissism. Even when Umar says, I have 6 degrees, that he has 6 degrees, he knows that he has 5, allegedly. At most, I should say. I'll say it that way. He knows he has 5, but he has to say 6. Instead of saying he has 3 buildings, he says he has 4 buildings. One time he said he has 5 buildings in women. That's mental health. Why lie about that type of thing? He said he has 2 schools. No, he has 2 abandoned buildings that have been on the vacant property list. To this day, still on the vacant property list. There's other things with Umar. He has to be the center of attention. Especially when he's on stage, it's performative more than anything else. There's a term I keep forgetting about what the mental health term is, a psychological term for this. it's theatrics. Everything is theatrics, but it's more about getting people's attention, and that is his means of manipulating people to get money out of them for survival purposes. There's other things I can speak to dealing with Umar. I've studied him for a long time. So this is all to say, even his emotional volatility, some mental health issues. He's up and down. He's quick to rage. He has an anger management issue. Even him repeating things over and over again, it's a mental health issue at this point. He didn't do that back in the day. You guys go back and look at Umar 2005. That's the earliest video that I have of him. You go look at Umar even 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. There's a thing that happens at a certain point. And so now these days he repeats. He can't even stop himself. He gets into the mode and it's compulsive. It's a compulsive disorder. He had a mental break when he was in Africa too, by the way. I believe that was in 2005. Might have been 2004, 2005. And he claims that it was some sort of a spiritual experience. No, he was having a schizophrenic episode where he's hearing things and saying things that simply were not there. So yeah, what I'm getting at is, and you're welcome, Octavia. Umar, he has mental health issues, and over time it's gotten worse. I think that there are issues where he hasn't been diagnosed properly and hasn't gotten the psychological services, and it's just gotten worse and worse over time. But then on top of that, I think that he's intentionally deception. I think it's part of his personality type. In fact, narcissists, they are intentionally deceptive. That's how they manipulate people. You'll find that there are people, there is a higher percentage of people who are successful in certain fields, high demand fields in point of fact, and they have narcissistic personality traits. And it's that the traits themselves, the personality traits or aspects of the personality trait of narcissistic personality that allow them to operate on a particular level, to have those levels of success without a concern for anyone else. So it becomes intentional deception oftentimes so they can get what they want. P. Diddy. At any cost. P. Diddy. Well, Umar's the same way. See? Yeah. Real quick, he has different personalities too, different characters. So there's little Jermaine. That's his core personality, very subdued, scared, really scared little boy. That's why when I can talk to him like a little boy. I don't raise kids. He's like a little boy. But then he has these other characters, personality types that he taps into in defense of the little boy, such as King Kong consciousness. That's just when he's in the setting rant. He's totally different, dressed differently, talks differently, dropping M-bombs, yelling, all emotional, all irate, all upset, and trying to be a fake thug. That's a person. It's a disorder. Then you have the Prince of Pan Africanism, which is the so-called Pan Africanist black leader. So that's the one who wears the dashikis and he goes over to Africa and gets his Ghanaian citizenship, all this type of shit. That's another character dealing with Umar. Big Papa is the Lothario. That's the pimp player type who wants to sexually exploit black women. He's always talking about sex. He's always talking about crushing cookies. Talks differently from the Prince of Pan Africanism. Dresses differently from the Prince of Pan Africanism. Cookie this and cookie that and hot fudge and pina colada and I want honeycomb hideout and gloosey goosey. All this stuff is it. Then there's Dr. Umar. That's the one that wears a suit and a tie and dresses three-piece suit sometimes, haircut nice, got on glasses too. Talks all prim and proper. At least try to. Y'all remember that? You don't see much of that anymore. But he's so smoked out. It's another personality. There's other ones too. I'm just giving you guys some of them. And this is all dealing with Umar Johnson's mental health. It's a serious problem. But then on top of that, because he's unable to survive in the real world with all these mental health issues, he has to be intentionally deceptive in order to what? Not to open up a school or to win the Super Bowl, but to survive. All right. Okay, let's get to it, everyone. Thank you all again for tuning on in. I hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are, go on and hit that like button. I appreciate it. We've got about 850 people in the building. Also, No Contento says, why not file and share a police report regarding break and enter? Why should a school of all places not have insurance? Call a claims adjuster. Yeah, just saying. We talked about this in Part B, provided some information that was important and pertinent. And what Part B was saying was that, yeah, you can get insurance on a building that's vacant. It's specialized insurance, as she called it. And she's professional. She knows what you're talking about. That he would be able to get some form of insurance on these abandoned buildings. And it's not required in all cases, probably in some, but in all cases. to have a security system installed. Now, there may be instances where security system must be installed, and that if you don't have one, then the premium is going to be astronomical. Or if you don't have electricity going running to the building, the premium will be higher. Or that if you don't have some sort of security there or a fence, because they'll look into all that kind of stuff. They have an adjuster come take a look. In my opinion, it would be highly unlikely that Umar would spend money on that type of thing when he couldn't even pay rent in 2019. He's still living inside his mama closet today. See, dope fiends ain't worried about that type of shit, especially if they're not interested in winning the Super Bowl or opening up a school. It's about getting money. It's about survival. He hadn't even shown that side of the school in over 5 years, half a decade. So what's the probability of Umar actually getting insurance? Extremely low on both sides of the street, for that matter. More likely, I would say, on the side of the street where he's actually done some renovation work. But on the other side, no, he ain't even turned electricity on over there. He ain't done shit over there. They just been set. They've just been they've sat there for 6 years and 4 months to rot. That's it. No work, no inspections taking place. Nobody going in to do any type of nothing. That's it. That's crazy. Why even waste money like that? See. So the point is, Umar could, and this is one of the things that even his followers were saying, well, where's the police report on this? Okay, if this actually took place, I highly doubt that Umar did a police report. Is it possible? Yes. But that would be what I would need to see as what? Evidence that would prove his claim. And in the absence of evidence and proof, I don't accept anything that Umar Johnson says. Just like same thing, I don't expect people to simply accept what I say about Umar just because I say it. That's why I'll provide the receipt. Then you can go on and make up your own mind. I know my shit. You can't tell me nothing. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's arrogant. You could probably tell me some things, but in terms of my research, okay, but I can provide the receipts to prove things. Umar never provides receipts to prove anything. When has he ever done that, by the way? No contendo. Did Umar ever provide a receipt on how much money he's collected over the last 5 years? No. Did he ever provide a receipt on how much money he's collected over the last 11 years where it's you can actually see a ledger and it's official? No. Has he ever provided a receipt in terms of how much money he spent on these block parties? No. Has he ever provided a receipt in terms of how much he purchased these abandoned buildings for? No. So never take what Umar says at face value, because he's a pathological liar and he does it for survival purposes. And in the absence of an actual receipt, I don't accept anything that Umar Johnson says. I do my own independent research and I draw my own conclusions based upon the receipts that I find. And if there are no receipts, I'm not going to put anything out there. Okay. Real quick, I have audio of a woman who called into a radio show and she alleged that Umar SA'd her. Is it possible that he did that? Yes. I would propose that it's probable, but I don't have any receipt that would prove it to be true. That's just something that she said. Do I believe her? Yeah. But I'm not going to get on here and play that. I've never even played it. I wouldn't get on here. I don't think I have. I'm not going to get on and play it and say, well, Umar, this is what he did. I can't do that because I don't have the receipts to back it up. See what I'm saying? The point is that when Umar says things, unfortunately, his followers believe it. They don't expect him to share a police report for breaking and entering or vandalism. They don't expect him to show the video footage if he claims that he has video, because he says he has cameras on the other side of the street. Well, did it catch someone going in on the other side of the street? And how did they get in exactly? Were the doors locked and they got in? Did they get through a window? Or did you leave the door unlocked, Umar? Because you already admitted that you've done that in the past. He doesn't get, at least I haven't, maybe he gives us information in the video. We'll see. But many of his followers are not asking that question. There are people who are followers of Umar. They're asking those types of questions, and good. That's critical thinking. Those are the questions that we should ask. Never take what Umar says at face value. And everyone should expect a receipt, a report, something official to prove any given claim that Umar makes. Now, when I say that Umar lives in his mama's closet, I can prove that. When I said that Umar was evicted in 2019, I can prove it. I have receipts. Showed some of them yesterday. When I say he had eviction notice in 2010, I can prove that to be the case. I showed the paperwork yesterday. This goes on and on and on. Right? All right. Thanks, no contender. Let's get going here. Thank you guys so much. Everyone who sent the super chats, I appreciate it. Thank you. I really do. Let's get going here I want to replay the short videos just to look at them again, and then we'll get to the second video where Umar is explaining what took place. So here's the first one right here. Shout out to the Cookie Crush chat. Cookie Crush chat undefeated. Make sure you get your vote in. We got 714 votes right now, and we're trying to get to 500 likes during this live stream. All right, here we go.
Brothers and sisters, as we start a new year, vandalism has began again at the Frederick Douglass High School. As we start a new year, vandalism has begun.
Let's assess this, ladies and gentlemen. How significant is this vandalism that we're seeing here? On a scale of 1 to 10, how significant is this? And also, don't put it yet. How significant is this from a scale of 1 to 10? And then how much man hours and money would it take to resolve this vandalism? So in this case, you know, maybe a gallon of paint, a paint roller. How much time and how much money do you guys think that it would cost to rectify these two examples of graffiti? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how significant is this so-called vandalism? Okay, I'll go back.
School. As we start a new year,
you got that right.
Vandalism has begun.
And you got that right
at
there.
the Frederick Douglass High School. We haven't had anybody vandalizing the school for several years now. We do have cameras. I'm going to go through the camera.
Okay, and that's not true either. Umar, it was vandalized 2 months ago. I actually provided that receipt yesterday. He lies so much.
And find out who it is, and I will make a police.
Okay, listen, if you have cameras and to see this, why don't you just show the video footage of whoever did this, Umar? He doesn't do that. Will he ever do that? No, I don't think so, at least, because Umar never provides any receipts. He makes up shit. He doesn't, it's just no transparency whatsoever. What he should have done is to actually gone through the video footage, because he was gone for what was it, a month. Go through it double time, triple time, until you see whoever these vandals are, and then show it to prove it to be true. Okay, but that's not what he does. Furthermore, it looks like it has their name, right? Well, why don't you just ask around and see who uses that particular tag, and you can go from there, Umar. But he ain't gonna do it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how significant is this vandalism? How much money would it cost to rectify it, and how many man hours? Okay, I'm gonna put mine in here. How significant? I'm gonna, out of scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 2. So 2 out of 10. How much would it cost to rectify this, to get a gallon of paint and to get a roller? I don't know, maybe 45 bucks. Okay, let's go $50. How many man hours would it take, including going to go get the paint? Max 3 hours. Okay, that's it. Okay. Sharif said 3 on the scale, 3 out of 10. Okay, I'm going to say 2. I'll say 2 out of 10. I can see 3 too. $50, 3 hours. $100 in 5 hours. Okay, that's from Victor. How's it going, Victor? Rating a half out of 10. 20 minutes of work. Yeah. Again, Andre, and shout out to X Freeman. I'm gonna give Umar the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna include how much it would cost to actually go and pick the paint up, even though he could order it online. That's why I'm gonna say 3 hours. Okay, I'm gonna say 3 hours. You got to get in his rental. let me stop. Okay, 3 out of 10. Okay, I think that's fair. 2 hours max. 2 out of 10. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's not significant. Like, you know, it's gonna take them a month to get it done. $75. Okay. Paint's not expensive. You can get a bucket of paint for 25 bucks. Let's say 30, 30 bucks. And then you can get a roller. You can get a roller little pack thing that you can use. You can get them at Walmart anywhere from $12 to $20. Okay. 3 out of 10. Yeah. Always show and prove. You got to show and prove. A 1. Yeah. 1. The vandalism has begun. East B, if you don't cut it out, East B beyond Umar. I'll be feeling bad. East B, how you feeling bad for Umar? Because they be looking for him. They be looking for East B in the comment section. The Umar Johnson followers. All right, let me stop. $20 in the 8 ball. 1 out of 10. A 5 gallon. I don't think he would need 5 gallons. I think 1 gallon would be. It was actually. You know what? Yeah, actually, because this other one, it's a lot larger. So you're right. I don't think he would need more than a gallon, because it's not this over here, that's no, maybe more. Let's say 2 gallons. I'm gonna go with 2 gallons. I'm gonna say $40. I'll say $40. Well, I put 50. So yeah, $40 plus let's say another 20. I'm gonna go with $70. I'm gonna up that up. I'm gonna take $70, 2 out of 10 on the scale of how significant. I'm gonna say about 3 hours of work, including matter of fact, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna go with 2 out of 10. I'm gonna up this to $75. And then I'm going to say 4 hours. That's what I'm going to go with. Okay. But I don't think he's going to need a 5-gallon bucket. I think maybe two 1-gallon buckets should suffice. Right. So 2 gallons of paint. How's it going, guys? Little princess. Thanks for tuning on in. Appreciate you. Mojo said 20. It's really not. It's not that big of a deal. But Umar's going to make it seem as if it's a big deal. Here we go again. Another incoming paint day. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming to the logic. Umar, he always that's his go-to. He go back to the paint days. Yeah. How's it going, Iris? Thanks for tuning on in. Kristen as well says it's crazy how he scammed his own people. Child, yeah, he don't care. He don't care though, because it's all about survival for Umar. It's sad. It's really sad. But again, I think that for Umar, he has so many mental health issues and he's criminal minded. It's a survival thing more than anything else. He would not be able to survive in the real world if his PayPal gets shut down, his PO box gets taken away, and he's unable to get money out of people anymore. He would ultimately be relegated to being a homeless bum, literally living on the street. Yeah, unless if his mama didn't allow him to stay at inside in her closet. If all that was taken away, he would be homeless, literally out there on the street. It's sad, but that's the reality of the situation. I'm sticking with 0. It doesn't affect operations one bit. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, you're right about that. What's up, Fairchild says, LenonHonor, I have hoodies, t-shirts, caps with Integrity silk screen. Integrity is a hardcore band from Cleveland, Ohio. They are probably my favorite hardcore punk band. Right? Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard of them. I have a son. He probably heard of them because he be listening to everything. Okay. Yeah. I would say, maybe 40 minutes of work. It's not a lot of work. Yeah, not a lot of work at all. Okay. So I wanted to do this just for this video. We're going to do it for the next video too. But what I came up with for what I'm going to go with, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't even find it. Oh, here it is right here. No, I changed this. Okay. So that's 7. Let me see here. 7. I want to leave it on the screen because we're going to add when we look at this next one. Yeah. 2 out of 10, $75, 4 hours worth of work. We're going to leave that right. How's it going, Bridget? Thank you so much for tuning on in. Bridget says, my boss just purchased a huge 5-gallon bucket for $100. Once he paints the spot, he will need to do the entire thing. It looks bad. Yeah, but I don't think Umar is. I'm talking to Bridget. Just to be clear, to be clear to everybody else, I'm saying that if just to paint over the graffiti, not that he's going to paint this building. You know, that's not what I'm saying. Just to remedy or rectify the graffiti that we see here, he wouldn't need a 5-gallon bucket of paint. I don't think so. Okay. In 4 hours, I think that's more than
Vandalism has
to get the paint. And
began again at the Frederick Douglass High School. As we start a new year, vandalism has begun at the Frederick Douglass High School. We haven't had anybody vandalizing the school for several years now. We do have cameras. I'm going to go through the cameras and find out who it is, and I will make a police report. I will be sending images to the police.
Yeah, Umar, he trying to get that school to prison pipeline popping.
We haven't had any vandalism in years. And now the vandalism.
He had vandalism 2 months prior. I showed the video yesterday. He lied so much.
Is back, but it will not go unchecked. It will not go unchecked, brothers and sisters.
Okay, so that's the first video. Let's look at the second video. Here we go. Shout out to CashApp. Yeah, let me take this off of here. So what I'll do is I'll save it. So I want to ask the question, does this look like it was recent? And in my opinion, it doesn't. It doesn't look like this happened, right before he got here. In my opinion, it's been sitting like this for a long time. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it almost looks as if the objects that are on the ground, including some books, I don't know what the term is. It's almost as if they're crusted into the floor, like it's been sitting in the paint for an extended period of time. If this makes sense to people, that's what it appears to me. It does not appear to be recent. Okay, and then Umar says they destroyed my private book collection of 5,000 titles. Okay, I don't see 5,000 books here, including rare and out of print books. Again, why would he store rare and out of print books inside of an abandoned building that doesn't have any security? Well, part of it is because he does. I don't think he stored 5,000. He did store some, but that's because he's been homeless and he doesn't have any place to store it, and he doesn't want to have to pay a storage fee. And so what he's done is he just puts all his belongings in his abandoned building, and they've been in there for years now. This was personal. Hopefully the cameras will show us who did it. So he's saying that there's cameras, inside there, but there's no electricity inside there. Never electricity was established inside of this large gym. So what is he saying? The cameras on the other side of the street maybe see who did this on the inside on the other side of the street, inside of the large gym. Again, Umar hasn't even shown the inside of these abandoned buildings on this side of the street in over 5 years. That's telling himself this could have taken place 5 years ago. Right. But Umar needs money right now. He can't say that, he needs money to get doors. He can't say that he said renovation was done in 2023. So he has to fabricate some shit. Now, did Umar do this? I don't think Umar did this. I think that this is something that took place a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. I think 3 years is too far because he could have used this before that. Maybe something that took place over the last, let's say within the last year and a half, but he's using it now. And it's just how things look. It's almost as if everything sat in the paint for an extended period of time and is baked in. Remember, there's no HVAC. You guys understand what I'm saying? So when it gets hot in here. It's like it turns into like an oven. When it gets cold, it freezes in here. It turns into like a freezer. That's how I see this. Not that he did it himself, but that this is something that took place a while ago. Okay, let's say 10 months, a year and a half ago. Now, I'm not saying that as a fact. I'm saying that how I'm seeing this, that's what I see. On a scale of 1 to 0, how significant is this vandalism? Okay, I'm gonna say 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. Okay, that's to say that it's significant. Okay, how much would it cost to get this rectified? So that somehow they're going to have to get this paint off of the gym floor, and I would think that they would have to get it off of whatever else. I mean, there would be no point to try to get it off of the books themselves. You can always just buy the books again. I don't have a clear answer on this. I'm gonna go with how much would it cost? I'm gonna go with $2,000. And I'm talking about specifically to get all of this issue with the paint, all that's and it's baked in at this point. This isn't recent in my opinion. It's baked in to get it could be more than that. I'm going to go with $3,000. So I'm going to say 7.5 out of 10. I'm going to propose that it's going to cost about $3,000. I'm going to throw another $500, $3,500 to get this rectified. Someone said no more than 5,000. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 5,000, just because I want to be at least. No, I can't do that. I'm gonna go with 4,500. Just trying to help Umar out here. 7.5 out of 10. I'm gonna go with $4,500, and then I'm gonna say, how long would it take to get this rectified? I would think it would probably take maybe a week. So let's go a week. Okay. No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I got a job. I got to go to work. I got kids to take care of. I got no time to be traveling to Wilmington, Delaware to go, spray paint on the inside of a dusty ass gym that got black mold and critters in there and snakes and lizards and shit. I ain't got time for it. Okay, no more than 5,000. I'll agree with that. Umar, I feel you, bro. I will send you $500 money order to the P.O. box. It's like, yeah, you're welcome. Not here. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. What's up, Miss Bear? Hope you're doing all right. Dee Dee's in the building too. Yeah. Baked on, caked on. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Vixer says 8 out of 10. Okay, I said 7.5, so I can see that too. 7.5, 8 out of 10. 1 week, 5,000. Yeah, I can see that. And then if we add it up, both, for me, I would say we don't got to do the average for the 7.5, and I think I said 2 for the other one. But in terms of how much work he should be able to rectify the vandalism that he has shown in both these videos, I would think he would have rectified it in like maybe 7 days max. 8 days, maybe 9 days max. So just about 9 days worth of work. How many total hours would it take? Again, outside maybe 4. Inside here, I would probably say maybe 50 hours, something like that. It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. You add it all together. Thanks, Vic. So Aries says inside 8 out of 10, $1,000, 5 days. Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be more than 1,000. I'm going to go with 4,500. That's probably too high too on my end though too. It's probably close. But I'm going to do it just to be nice to Umar. What's up, Ace? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Fairchild says, can you remember who named you Lenon? No, I don't remember. Someone's called me. No, Umar called me LenonHonor. He's the one that called me LenonHonor. And then people start calling me. I'm fine. It ain't no big deal. I went with it. That's how I am. I just go with it. Our school paid $8,000 to start. It was totally redone. Okay. Yeah, but if it's totally redone, this wouldn't necessarily need to be redone. Just this paint has to get off of the gym floor. So it would have to be less than $8,000. Okay. All right, real quick, Tori, how's it going? Tori says 1 week, 3 to 5 people, definitely more than $5 grand. Okay, all right. Josh says it looks like Jumanji in there. 8 out of 10. Yeah, big critters and lizards and shits. You know, squirrels. You know, a little fox. Probably a couple of raccoons. Yeah. It's called condensation. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's just been sitting there. Thanks, James. Well, Lenon, your critiques are fact-based. Anyone can verify the information on their own, yet people tend to be very lazy. Yeah, much of what I say, people could actually, you can verify it yourself, especially when it comes to like the documents that I show. You can find this online. Fairchild seen quite a few of the documents, stuff that I haven't shown on here. Like, for instance, Umar Johnson's great-grandfather was a white Cuban. Umar, I have him on record saying that he's an Afro-Cuban. No, he was a white Cuban. Umar, come on, Umar. And Fairchild has seen that actual document. Okay. 15 hours. Yeah, maybe 15 hours. 6. Someone said Sunkiss Melon says 6 out of 10 for the level of vandalism. $3,000 1 week. Yeah, I would definitely agree with the 1 week. I have to go with 7.5. I can see 6. I can also see 8. For that matter. Umar, he has to make it seem as if everything was destroyed. It's really not that big. It's a very small area that's actually vandalized because this is the large gym. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna do it. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Real quick, Tuesday Log says, in my opinion, the vandalism inside the gym is really insignificant because it was already a wreck to begin with. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. So I'm gonna restate this, but this is what you're saying. I'm gonna restate this. The school, let's just specifically talk about the large gym. The large gym was already in a dilapidated state because what we're talking about is that it has been sitting there over time for a total of 10 years and about 4 months. But nothing's been done in there in about a decade. It was vacant for 4 years after the new Moyer Academy closed down. Back in 2015. And then it sat from, after Umar acquired it in February 2019, it sat there for 6 years and 4 months. We're talking about over a decade. So when the vandalism takes place, it's not as if the vandalism is executed against a building or a structure or a room, or in this case, a gym that had any renovation work completed on it, any restorative measures taking place. This is a very good point right here. Truth, Jesus, and logic. Yeah, very good. That's not what this is. What this is a gym that has been sitting for over a decade without any remediation taking place. In point of fact, it was trashed before the vandalism took place. And there you go. That's a good point right there. Yep. Yep. That's the truth using logic right there. Really good point. But see, Umar, as a master manipulator, he will, and I'm sure he's going to do this. He wants to make it seem as if, I don't know, that this larger gym, it was in great shape, that they had done some work in there, and now they got to start over again. So we got to change the date of grand opening date, and we also need more money for it. And he goes on and on and on and on and on as the master manipulator that he is. But what we're looking at is vandalism that took place on top of a school section of a school building that we would classify as the large gym that had been sitting there vacant and in a dilapidated state for over a decade prior to the vandalism taking place. And we're assuming that the vandalism has taken place over the last 4 months in this case. But in my opinion, it took place before. I think a year and a couple of months. Okay, just based upon how it looks, everything's caked in and baked in. See, really good point, Truth and Logic. I didn't think about that. Excellent point. See, that's what we do up over here. See, I know we goof off and we laugh and shit, but at the end of the day, it's about critical thinking, you know, using logic and reason, asking critical questions. And if people did that enough with Umar, do just a minimum amount of research, you realize very quickly what this is about for Umar. It's about survival. It's not about winning the Super Bowl. It's about getting money out of people indefinitely so that he can survive. He don't care about his own kids, but y'all think he care about yours. So y'all better wake up. Real talk. Thanks, Truth and Logic. Excellent point. Okay. Looks like his former apartment, not vandalism. It sure does. Where he flipped that phone. Don't make me pull it up because we gotta get to the video. Okay. I'm so tempted to pull it up. Cheryl, and thanks, Little Sex. Cheryl says, how do you think this will end for Umar? You know, there's different possibilities. I've been asked this question a couple of times over these many years, and there's a couple of different outcomes. I don't want to speak to certain ones, but I'm going to say this. I think the best case scenario for Umar, it's not even a probability, but I'm just going to throw this out here. The best case scenario is that he stops. He just simply stops with this school scam. He comes forward to the people and explains how he was wrong, and that this has basically been a money grab. Okay, for narcissists, they just won't do this. They don't want to hold themselves personally accountable. They don't blame everyone else. And then this is the best case scenario. And then he genuinely pursues help, professional help for the mental health issues, for the substance abuse. And over time, he shares his story of getting back on track in life. And it would be such a powerful testimony for other people to see, Black men in particular who are struggling with issues of dealing with mental health issues, dealing with substance abuse, issues with being absentee fathers by choice, not because the baby mamas is quote unquote keeping you away from your babies. No. Umar could be a major inspiration, but he won't go down that path because of the narcissism. And then over time, he starts to turn things around. You know, he gets stable. He gets his own place. He stops living inside his mama closet. He stops sexually exploiting these Black women. He goes and gets a job. And for the rest of the time that he has left here on the planet, because we are getting older, that he lives his best life in the most respectable way with integrity, and then live that truth as inspiration to other generations, and including his generation, which is my generation. That would be the best case scenario. That's not going to happen. I used to think that maybe it would at some point, but it's not. Another thing, and I think that it's more likely, is that Umar, the IRS will come for him for being fraudulent with his IRS filings, setting up 2 different EIN numbers and not reporting any money, donation money received for the first EIN number. Where all that money go, Umar? See, that's mail fraud, is tax evasion. See, they can look into the school, that they can subpoena all of his bank statements. They could subpoena his CashApp record for Cash Apps, digital records, PayPal, same thing. Checks and money orders, same thing. Wouldn't be able to do much with the cash in terms of all the cash he's raised. Who knows how much cash he's received? And then ultimately, Umar will find himself in terms of some serious legalities, and then he would have to stop that way. That's possible too. I think that that's more likely. And see, that may appear to be a horrible thing that would take place, but I actually think that it could actually save Umar's life, because the trajectory that he's on right now, it's not going to end well anyway. I just don't want to speak to that. Things are not well anyway for Umar, and they have been for a long time. I don't want to speak to that, and I don't want to speak further on that, and I don't want to give that power, as it were. I'm trying to be careful with my words. He's already in it, and he has been in a bad situation for a very long time. Getting hemmed up with charges, whether that's mail fraud or misappropriation of funds or whatever the case, what it would do is it put Umar in a position wherein he would have to get substance abuse help. He would have to get mental health services. And then perhaps getting away from all of the scamming, all of the trappings of the addictions, different addictions that he has, getting away from it and being forced to be away from it, sex, food, gambling, et cetera, that then he would be put in a position where he has to deal with himself. Because that's really what the issue is. It's not me. It's not the Cookie Crush chat. It's not his donors. It's not his followers. It's not the white man or white supremacy. It's none of that. It's Umar. He's the problem. But he has to be in a space where he has to look at himself in the mirror and be forced to look at himself in the mirror, because he's not going to do it on his own volition, and then starts to take steps to get his life turned around. Okay, that's what I think. I think it's more likely though that he gets put up on some charges dealing with mail fraud, and false filings with the IRS. That's what he's done. Okay. And again, like I said, that actually may be the best thing for him, because it may force him to have to get his life turned around. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Cherry Flesh, okay, for the super chat. I hope I got to everyone. I think I did. Let's get to this video. East B says vandalism. Yeah, that's what this comes down to. Now, let me ask a quick question to everyone dealing with this vandalism issue. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another poll. I'm going to close this poll out, and I'm going to set up another poll. And then for the rest of this live stream, we're going to go for another hour. The question is, how many times has Umar used the vandalism excuse? 842 votes. 5% said one time, 10% said two times, 16% said three times, 69% said more than three times. He's done it more than three times. I can run off a list. It's probably closer to 5, 6. Rock thrown through the building. He called it the boulder rock. Another rock thrown through the building at a certain point. Excuse me, at a certain point after he took the boards off. That first time it was up above of one of those doors. Spray paint. In this case, he showed a spray paint. Of course, the paint on the books inside of the gym and all the other stuff that's going. We're gonna look at that video again to close out that, and then we'll get to the main video for today. That's 4 right there. Someone vandalized what he calls the sacred rock. That's 5 right there. There's other ones that I'm missing, but that's 5 that I can just come up with off the top of my head right there. So it's more than 3 times, and I anticipate that he'll use more excuses dealing with vandalism as it progresses. I think it depends. If he's able to finagle this to get a significant amount of money out of people, then he'll use it again in the future. If he doesn't, then he'll move on to something else, because it's all about survival. He's criminal minded. Okay. All right. Thanks, East Beast. Peace and pan vandalism. I shouldn't do that, but I had to do it. Yeah, that's another one. Was Ann's Tuna. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it like that. So that would be 6 right there. Okay. There's other ones too, but that's good enough. Okay. All right, let's go back to this video. We're going to watch it one more time, and then we're going to get to the main video for today. Shout out to the Cook Crush. Thank you all so much for tuning on in. Hope you all enjoying the show. If you are enjoying the show, go on and hit that like button. Okay, go on and hit it. Andre says, Lenon is too nice. Even if Umain changed, his story would be that of a bumming loudmouth scammer for the rest of his life. Every time that he made a public showing. No, you're right. You're right. What I'm speaking to is him personally, so that he can live out the rest of his days with integrity. I mean, not so much about what other people think about him at that point, because it's an issue of his life. I don't want to say too much on this, and maybe I am being too nice, but this is how I see things. I'm not an Umar Johnson hater. Okay, that's just not the case. I wanted to see him do better. In fact, I've taken measures to get my life turned around on certain levels, just in hopes that Umar will see that and that he would do the same. But he hasn't done it. He's actually gone in a different direction. I want to thank everyone too who's been supportive through this process over these. It's been quite a few years now. I want to thank everyone. There was no giving up for me, because I got children and a wife. I couldn't do that. I just had to figure things out and get busy. I wanted that for Umar too. It's not going to happen, not that way, not through his own volition, where he makes a intelligent decision to say, hey, listen, these are the problems. This is how I'm going to go about rectifying these, and I'm going to get busy, and I'm going to work my ass off for the next 5 or 6 years to get things turned around, like I've done. Okay, again, I always have to say it humbly. I still got a long way to go. Real talk. Okay, but I'm proud, you know, of what I've been able to do, and my wife is proud too. Okay, my children. We had Father's Day, and it was a blessing. There's times where I'll tell. Just over the years, I'll say, you guys know I'm doing better, right? To my children. I don't say it to them collectively, but if I'm with one of them, I'll say, you know, I have been trying to do better. I'm doing better than you. And that's, yeah, you have been. Okay. All right. It warms my heart. And okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Umar doesn't have that because he don't care. Okay. What I'm speaking to, Andre, with Umar is him as a person, not so much about how we see him or how other people are going to see him in the future. It's more about him being able to wake up and being proud about himself as a man, being proud about himself as a father, hopefully as a husband someday, being proud about himself as someone who's taken the time to get things turned around in his own personal life. That's what I'm talking about here. Yeah, will he be remembered as a loudmouth vagabond? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm talking about Umar being able to wake up and feel good about himself. That's what I want. See what I'm saying? All right. Do I sound like a hater, Andre? I don't think so. Okay, let's get back to this video, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna play it one more of the vandalism. I'm gonna play the vandalism video one more time, and then we're gonna get to the main video. What we're assessing here is how much damage, how significant it is on a scale of 1 to 10. How much money you would think it would cost to repair this and remedy this, and also how many hours would it take? It could be how many days or how many weeks or what have you. So let's take a look at this one more time, and then we're going to get to the main video. All right, here we go. And he also said they destroyed everything they saw, including school supplies for children. Okay. Which is crazy, because why would you store school supplies inside of an abandoned building that you have not done any renovations in? Wouldn't you want to store that into, let's say, where you have done renovations? Doesn't even make sense. This paint is baked into the floor. So I don't believe, Umar. I do not believe that this is recent. Now, could it be? Yeah, but I don't think so. Okay, show the receipt, Umar, that proves, show the video. Okay, because you said that you should be able to find out who did this. Well, you should be able to see people coming up in here, or at least from the outside, from the other side of the street with the cameras you have, people coming up over here and entering this building with spray cans and spray paint, so forth and so on. Here we go. Okay, I don't see 5,000 books. That right there, too, is very telling. There's a CD right there, and it does not appear to have any paint on it. Why is that the case? Notice how the books that are around it and the Connect 4 game that's around it, it not only does it have paint, but it's baked in. Like it's been subject to high levels of heat, not just for a day, not just for a week, but for a significant period of time. And yet we have this CD that's sitting there, and it does not seem to be affected in the same way. Yeah, you see this? Yeah, and the other thing is, it's not just paint. That's dust on top of some of this shit too. It's been sitting here for a significant period of time. You guys see this? Hit the one. It's not just paint. You can tell that it's been sitting here and dust has collected on top of this stuff for a significant period of time. Yeah, that's a suitcase right here. You got boxes, broken glass, cabinetry. Let me just go back because I want to see something. Yeah, I don't know what all that is back there. It's just a whole bunch of trash and stuff. Picture frames. Okay, there's not much paint over here on this side. Some books. More picture frames, the book. Yeah, you guys see what I'm saying here? That's dust. That's not paint. It could be argued that all this was sitting in there, and they had to have been sitting in there for about 5 years anyway, half a decade, shit. And maybe it was already dusty prior. But the point is that if we go back and look at this, you see stuff with paint, but you also see stuff where there's not paint, it's just dust on top of it. But it's still the actual object is still baked into the floor. That's a suitcase. There's another suitcase here too. I remember we saw it yesterday. Yeah, he's just spinning in circles. It's not like the whole gym. And that over there, you see paint over there. You see paint over here. It's a lot of work though, in order to get all this cleaned up. That's why I actually think 5,000 is closer. It's a closer to get all this cleaned up. I'm talking about if he didn't want to do it himself, he just paid somebody. I'm the type of person I would save that money, and I would actually start cleaning this shit up myself. But he's going in circles, so it's not like this is anything new that we're seeing here. It looks like a pillow right there. Is that a pillow? No, that's not a pillow. It's a box, but looks like it has white space. Let me look at this one more time. No, it looks like it's a box with white spray paint. Yeah, that's another picture frame, some other shit in there. Boxes, clothes, and there's that fucking TV. Fuck. So tired of this shit. I apologize. I apologize. Just sick of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. Could Chris help me out? Y'all see the TV? Hit the one if you see the TV. So frustrating. 50 fucking years old, Umar. Y'all see the TV? Hit the one. Cook chat, please help me out. Help me out. Got my blood pressure up. If y'all could just please hit the one, hit the like button. Please. Please. I shouldn't even been live streaming. I shouldn't, but I'm still not feeling 100%. Thank you for hitting that one. Where have we seen that television before? That TV. It's a TV. It's not a smart TV. It's a TV. Where did we see that before? I done told y'all. Let's go back to 2019. You got to do it to me, Umar. Every single time. Here you go.
Alpha male, send those resumes in. FDMG resumes at gmail.com. FDMG resumes at gmail.com.
Look. This video right here is Umar in 2019 before he got evicted. This is the last time Umar had his own residence. Umar has been homeless since 2019. I showed the eviction paperwork yesterday. And I told people what happens after this, after he gets evicted, is that Umar stops live streaming from this residence. And he had been there at least since 2010 because he received an eviction notice back in 2010 to the same residence. I showed that paperwork yesterday. I redacted the actual address, but you can actually find that online. Look it up yourself if you want to. Inevitably, Umar becomes homeless, and you stop seeing him live streaming in this corner like this. Then you start to see him live streaming in hotel and motel rooms and out of his car more and more and more because he didn't have his own place to stay. And then at a certain point, you start seeing him live streaming inside of his mama's closet. Literally, it's his mama's closet. But understand that when Umar flips this phone prior to being evicted in 2019, this is this is after Umar acquires his abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. That's why in this video, after this is exposed, he says, I'm in the process of moving to Wilmington, Delaware. Why? Because he already had the properties up there in Wilmington, Delaware, these abandoned buildings, including this large gym. And what Umar did was he took his belongings that he had as a hoarder from this apartment, and he simply moved them over to these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware, and used that other side of the street as his main storage space for all his shit. That's back in 2019. And I already told people this. I've been telling people this. That's why Umar hasn't shown the other side of the street in over a half a decade, because he's been storing his shit over there. Y'all think he's trying to open up a school. Umar already had a game plan. We talked about this. His game plan was to move into that small gym. I'm gonna move all of my shit into this large building over here, the large school in the large building, and I'm just gonna leave it up over there. And I'm gonna tell the people that there's so much work to be done over there that we're not gonna start renovations over there. We're gonna start on the other side of the street. How convenient. And then here we are 6 years and 4 months. Damn, 6 years and 4 months later, and time has told the truth once again. Because if you look at the video of Umar's dirty apartment back in 2019, you see that big back TV up over there. Those are rarities, and Umar's a hoarder. I told y'all this yesterday. He can't let shit go. Remember his chair? He still got it. Done nothing, Inspector Gadget. I used to love that show. It's my favorite show. It's one of my favorite shows as a kid. See that right there? I told people. Why does he have 5,000 books in there? Well, because it's not even 5,000. Some of those books are the same books that y'all see in the background right there. Some of those picture frames, I would dare say, are some of these pictures that he has up here on the wall. The African artifacts. I didn't see any, but it's probable that they're in there too. And that big back TV. You can't miss that. Those are rare. But Umar's a hoarder. He had it up over here in 2019 when he flipped that phone as a hoarder. Look at him. You see it? Y'all mean to tell me that he turns it on and watches this? No, he ain't watching, but he's a hoarder. But that's the same TV that you see in 2025 inside of this larger gym, I should say, sitting on the floor. Look. See it? And if we took the time, we could probably find some other shit that we see in that other video too. But there we go. You ain't telling me shit. Listen, I'm going to be arrogant on it. That's what I told people. Umar, he can't fuck with me intellectually. He can't. As he's more knowledgeable about some of that Pan African shit and all of this, you know, what is it? The black con? Yeah. Okay, well, fine. I know one damn thing. I ain't living in my mama's closet. Can't be too bright. I'm not bringing 40-year-old TV, big back TVs from a hoarder's paradise from 2019 with all this other filth and shit and bringing it on over to this abandoned building in Wilmington, Delaware, and use it as a storage space and don't show the inside for a half a decade, meanwhile collecting millions of dollars. What kind of man? That's what you call survival. But you know what? Listen, if you guys go and look carefully, homeless people, they have them carts and they be having all kinds of things in there. And some of it they don't never use, but they hold on to it. Why? Because of survival. That's Umar. He ain't trying to win no Super Bowl. He can't even get on the field in the first place. He ain't even on the practice team. What y'all talking about? He ain't on varsity, none of that. No. He barely getting on, he Pee-wee. That's where he at. But he still continues to collect the money with this big back TV. That's crazy. What? Listen, if you want to hold on to the TV and take the TV out your old apartment from 2019 that you got evicted from, I showed the paperwork yesterday. What? And then put it inside these abandoned buildings and store it there for 6.5 years, 6 years and four months. Who does that? Who stores a TV, a big back TV for six years? 6 years and 4 months. Who does? That's crazy. But if you wanted to really keep, why don't you just throw the big back TV out? Don't keep it for six years and 4 months and get you a smart TV. I'm sorry. I'm being a little theatrical. I apologize, but I can't help it because it's all so ridiculous. Here we go again. This happens every time. Umar, you know the Cookie Crush chat ain't gonna let this go. This big back TV ain't gonna let it go. They ain't gonna let it go. I want me a big back real TV. I want me a big back TV. Anyway, big back. Umar, I want you to say that 3 times. All right. Family, we need the donations for the big back TV. I said we need the donations for the big back TV. We need the donations for the big back TV. Why? We're going to get that big back TV or BBL. We're going to get that big back TV or BBL. Don't do that, Umar. Don't get no BBL for that big back TV. Don't do it. All right, let's get going here. I'm sorry. I'm being a little petty. I apologize. And being a little theatrical, but it's because I want y'all to have a good time. Umar be having blockbuster. He be having blockbuster nights in there. Just be him in there by himself with that funky chair, with that TV on the ground. He didn't put the TV on the stand. He just leave it on the ground. Eating Hot Pockets and shit. Mama, can you come move the head channel for me? No, Umar, stop it. Umar be standing in front of the old blockbuster building that's all got the back blown out and that went out of business 10 years ago. He be standing out there. Hey, y'all got some? Umar, Quick Crush Chat ain't gonna let this go, bro. Ain't gonna let it go. I ain't gonna let it go either. I don't mean to be petty, but hey, it was this. Hey, Mama, can you bring me that meatloaf? Umar, you 50. Don't be asking your mama to get that meatloaf. Stop. Boy, Cookie Crush Test undefeated. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's get to the video. 2 hours in. Let's get the video. All right. All right. Oh. Whew. Boy, I can't wait till I get back to 100% because, boy. Whew. All right. So I think we saw enough. Let me let the rest of this play, but there go that Big Mac TV. Here we go. Clothes, another suitcase, more boxes. See this all right here? These are his clothes. You know, Umar, he'll probably say that these are FDMG clothes. No, these are his clothes. Like I said, if you bring in suitcases, picture frames, your own books, some of these are the same books that we see inside where he flipped that phone at his apartment before he got evicted. And even still, if we see this big back TV being brought over, it's probable, highly likely, extremely likely in point of fact, that these clothes and these trash bags are Umar Johnson's clothes from his previous residence. See this? Look at this. All right, I'm gonna let it play from the beginning, and then we're gonna get to the main video. Here we go. Yeah, you know what? Let me just look. I want to see what's back there. Okay. And I want to do one other thing too. I'm just going to, let me just look. I want to look at something real quick. It's probably nothing, but let me
MG.
So he has a gray bookshelf back there. There's that big back TV. Yeah, I'll propose that these bookshelves and on both sides of his head, that those are in this gym too. I'll propose that. These African artifacts are probably there too somewhere. These pictures on the wall, framed pictures are in there too, I'm sure. Yeah, it's crazy. But I told people this in advance of this great big reveal with this big back TV. But it is what it is. All right. All right. Let's go back to this and I'll let it play and we'll move on to the main video. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like it right there. And that looks like the other one right there. Just they've been beat up and knocked over. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it looks like to me. There's a picture within picture frame, and there's another picture right there that's out of the picture frame. And this is all from his apartment. And real quick, I'm not saying that everything in here is from his apartment, but it's clear that he brought stuff over from his apartment over here. And if you look at these books, you can see that this stuff has been sitting here for a very long time. There's all types of dust on top of it, not paint, but dust. And it's a mess in there. He just walking on. Boy. Then he tried to get out there quick. He started. It's almost like he's scared or something. Watch him try to get up out there. I bet you he's swinging that arm too. He holding the phone with his right hand. He probably swinging that left arm. About as sassy as he want to be. Yeah, that's what it looked like. It's crazy. That stuff's been sitting there for a long time. I do not believe that happened over the last 30 days. I don't believe it at all. I think that happened a year or 2 years ago, and that's one of the reasons why Umar hasn't shown anything over there in over a decade. But he has to get money out of people. It's about survival. So he shows it now. This is my opinion. Okay, can I be wrong? Yeah. But he wants to show it now, in my opinion, because he wants to get money out of people. He wants people to sympathy and all that kind of stuff. Now, the way that Umar could prove this is to simply release the video that he claims that he has of these so-called vandals. And they should have some paint or something to that effect, and you should be able to see them going into the actual building. You wouldn't be able to see what they did inside these buildings because there's no electricity, and therefore there's no way to record them. All this should be on the cloud anyway, and he should be able to access this through his phone. He should get the type of cameras where there's sensors, and then it is automatically activates, so you won't be using up any extra storage space. And anyway, none of that's taking place. The point is that, in my opinion, this is whatever took place. What we see in there, it took place a long time ago. Like I said, what the forensic evidence shows is that there are areas where there is paint. There are areas where there's not paint. There's items that have paint on them, and it's baked into the floor. Okay, that doesn't take place over the course of 30 days. And then dust on top of it, that doesn't take place. And then there are areas where there are things that are knocked over on the ground. There's no paint and they're covered in dust. No, that doesn't take place over the course of 30 days. So in my opinion, this stuff, what took place in here, it took place, I don't know, 8 months ago, a year and 4 months ago, something to that effect. Okay. Now, real quick, I'm always fair. Could I be wrong on that? Yeah. Right. I know one thing, that big back TV, that's crazy. All right, Quick Fresh Chat. Let's get going here. I'm gonna go ahead and close this poll out because I want to ask another question, and then we're gonna get to this video. We have 956 votes. How many times has Umar used the vandalism excuse? 6% said 1 time, 10% said 2 times, 17% said 3 times, and 67% said more than 3 times. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close that poll out. I'm gonna start another poll, and this poll is: did Umar Johnson vandalize the small gym? Okay, did Umar Johnson vandalize the small? I just want to get you guys' perspective on this. In my opinion, I don't think he did it. I don't think he did. Is it possible? Yeah, I don't think he did it. All right, so make sure you guys get your vote in on that one. I'll leave that one up for the duration of this live stream. We're going to be going for another 30 minutes. All right. Let's get to the second video. This will be part 2 from yesterday. And shout out to the Cookie Crush Chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning on. And let me check on these likes real quick. We got about 880 people, 394 likes. Our goal is to get to 500. So if you're enjoying the show and you haven't hit that like button, go on and hit it. It'll take you about 2 seconds. And then hopefully we can get to 500 before we close out. We got about 30 minutes. Okay. What was the answer to the last poll? Okay, so Bougie Barbie, thanks for asking. The answer to the last poll: how many times has Umar used the vandalism excuse? It's more than 3 times. I counted 5 or 6. There's more than that, but that's over the years. It's not because also he used the vandalism. He said that they tried to burn one of the rooms down somehow. I don't even know how that happens. That's another one. And then he also said that they ran a car into the fence and the car caught on fire and burnt the fence down, which that actually took place. But it wasn't a vandalism. They weren't trying to cause harm to Umar. So that's 8. That's about 8 right there. So yeah, there's probably more that I just haven't thought about. But Umar will use this as if it's extraordinary to get money out of people. Okay? All right, let's get going here. The poll is up. We have 413 likes. And we have 877 people in the building. All right, here's the second video. We covered the first one yesterday, and here we go with the second one. Shout out to Good Crush, undefeated. Real quick, one of the things I noticed too is that Umar in the first video, he does not appear to be, I don't know what the word is, very concerned about the so-called vandalism. If I skip through, this was the first one.
My St. Croix, St. John, St. 63 in Harlem tomorrow, Black Father's Day, Sunday.
I mean, he was talking about getting hugs and stuff like that. So it's not, I just found it to be very interesting. What I think is that all that vandalism took place, at least inside of that large gym, took place a while ago. And so that's why he's not affected by it emotionally as we would anticipate him being, at least in this particular video. I haven't watched this.
Queens to answer. Who got the best African restaurant in Harlem?
He's talking about going out to get food and stuff.
Who got the...
Yeah. Thank you, Black Wolf. It doesn't appear as if he's upset about it or distraught. Yeah, thank you, Bridget. It doesn't appear to be that way. Yeah. Derek says Miguel Jackson vandalized it. Yeah, he was up there dancing. He was doing the moonwalk and everything. he was watching himself on that big back TV. All right, let me stop. Okay, I'm sorry. Victor says, let us say Mama Claus one more time. That's one of the words I probably said the most. What kind of man is Mama Claus? The next one's gonna be the big back TV. I should write a song about that. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. Here we go. Let's get back to the second video. He just chilling. He ain't got nothing to do. Most requested scholar.
Peace and Pan Africanism, brothers and sisters. I'm back again. While I was on the live, the children had snuck into the school.
Huh?
Which means they knew the door was unlocked. Listen to me, brothers and sisters. For children to know that a door is opened, and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know that the door was open, and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know the door was open, and I was only away from the school for 30 days, I wonder when they broke in.
Huh? If the door's open, they wouldn't have to break in anyway.
I wonder when they broke in because...
Yeah. The thing is that 30 days is a long time. He ain't had nobody doing because he's gone. And he doesn't have anyone up there to check on these abandoned buildings. He did in the past, but he had a falling out. He don't have anyone to check on the buildings or to keep the project going. So-called renovations, even though say renovations were completed back in 2023. So they just sit here. It's funny because Umar, he's on social media all the time. If someone wanted to really get in here and steal whatever or vandalize, they just say all they got to do is follow his social media because they know he ain't going to be up there because he's over in Africa or he's over there in Europe somewhere or he's over there Mama Closet. I was just playing. So they'll know where he's at. He's such a goofy. Yeah, only 30 days. But like I said, he everywhere except at these trap bandos. He'll show up here every once in a while. He ain't doing nothing. Is he doing anything right here? No, he's kicking it. It's a kicking spot.
If the children already know the door was open, we're not blaming the children. We're not blaming the children. We're saying that it had to be general knowledge that the school was broken into, because how would the children know to go in there?
What are you talking about, Umar? What kind of critical thinking is that? It don't even make any sense what you're saying, Umar. Clearly has issues, yet he thrives. With travel and notoriety, he will never stop scamming. He is thriving in dysfunction. It is normal for him. Yeah, you're right. At this point, it's normalized, and he's so used to it. We can go back to 2010, 2011. That's it's over what, 14, excuse me, actually, we can go back before that. But let's go with 2010, 2011. He's been living as a vagabond. About 15 years, that's a long time. And he's comfortable with it. And he is. In that sense, he's thriving in that level of dysfunction. In terms of survival, he's thriving. But in terms of in all ways, as a man, an upright man who's standing on his 2 feet, but the thing is that it's easy. It's easy for him to live this lifestyle. I'm just saying that it's easy it's not easy. Okay, I don't want to misstate this, but it's easy in the sense that he does not have to do anything of consequence. It's easy that he does not have to be responsible for anything, including his own children. It's easy that he doesn't have to be responsible to have his own place at the age of 50. It's easy that he doesn't have, for him, it's easy. It's easy that he doesn't have his own vehicle. He just rents cars and donors pay for everything. In that sense, it's easy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thanks, Parby, for being a member. TV been unemployed since 1996. Machiavelli tuned in. Ain't no telling when the last time he used that TV. Ain't no telling, because it's sitting up over the corner. Y'all think that when it was up there inside of his apartment with all that filth, you think he was watching that TV? No, it's ain't no telling. It could have been sitting in there for 9 years. He's a hoarder. He was there since at least 2010. It could have been sitting in that same spot for about 9 years in trash and filth, just collecting overtime. Yeah. Just nuts. Thanks, Pierre, for the super chat. KK, she says, shout out to Lenon the Cooker said there's no insurance coverage on the property or the items. Children have been expelled before the grand opening. I don't think that there's any insurance. We were talking about this yesterday. In fact, Par B mentioned that it is possible to get specialized insurance on an abandoned building or vacant building. Even in some cases, you don't have to have an alarm system or security to that group. But I would think that the premiums and the amount of money that's going to cost to get coverage would be significant. And Umar's not the type of person who would do that. He just wouldn't put money down like that. He would put money to get a hotel. All things dealing with survival. He would put money down to turn the heat down. He'll put money down to get food. He'll put money down to get some sex. He'll put money down to travel so that he can gain more access to women, or he can get speaking engagements so that he feeds his ego. That's another thing he's addicted to. But him handling business, that's one thing I can say about Umar. He don't handle basic business, paying bills, getting insurance, having your own place, having your own vehicle. He don't even handle basic business. So I highly doubt that he actually has insurance. I think that it's extremely unlikely. Yeah. Shout out to KKC. Thanks for tuning on in, bro. Appreciate you. Black Wolf says Umar is what we call a shady with the slick way of speaking. Money and popularity just enhance the shit out of his shade. Yeah, you're right. He's a slick talker. Jay Morrison is like that. Brother Polite, I ain't gonna say Brother Polite was like that too. He in jail, and all of that is survival. Notice that none of those individuals, include, you can also throw in a Nature Boy. They can't survive in the real world as a man. Everything they're doing, it's about survival. It's about control for the purpose of survival. At least what they perceive to be their own personal survival. It ain't about anybody else taking care of nobody or anything like that. It's just selfishness. What happened with Umar is he already had problems because he was trying to scam UNIA back in 2005. But what happened with Umar is all of the popularity that was placed upon him after the Hidden Colors series, in particular Hidden Colors 2, all of that went to his head, and his ego was already out of control. But at that point, the amount of attention that he was getting, women throwing cookies at him, let's be real about it, being asked to do more speaking engagements, all because of Hidden Colors, it went to his head. And then all of the underlying issues dealing with Umar, debauchery, scamming and scheming, sexual addiction, sex addiction, gambling problems, wanting to turn the heat down, all that becomes enhanced. His ego becomes enhanced. How he sees himself in relationship to your everyday black person is as if he's the Christ figure. He calls himself the Black Messiah, that kind of stuff. A lot of that was, and I'm not saying that it's Tariq Nasheed's fault. I'm saying that a lot of it comes out of the level of popularity and attention that he was receiving post Hidden Colors, and in particular Hidden Colors 2. Yeah, it went to his head. Yeah, He already had problems, though, anyway. He had mental health issues, in my opinion, when he was a child. So one of the reasons why his daddy shipped him away out of all the kids and shipped any of the rest of them away. He was, I can say the thing, I'm leaving right there. All right. It's just that without being properly diagnosed and or not receiving the proper therapy needed to resolve certain issues, it just gets worse and worse. And then you get to a critical point where the attention comes in and it just goes to his head. And then he's already kind of out there, but then he just goes way out there. And then it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And here we are in 2025. See? Yep. Thanks, Black Wolf, for super chat. See, did I get to everyone? I think I got to everyone. Black Wolf says, Leonard, you missed my other chat. I figured Umar out easy. The video when Umar speaking with the kids is before this vid, I think. No, I think this is the video where the kids show up. I believe so. Give me one moment. And what did I miss? Let me just check, because I want to make sure that I get to everyone, because I don't want to be. Oh, I think that you're probably referring to the one I just. Yeah, you're referring to the one that I just read of yours. Okay. Yeah, but Black Wolf, I think that's this video. And if it's not, we'll find it before we close out here. We got about 20 more minutes. I can go another 20 minutes. We got about 913 people in the building. Thank you guys so much. I was looking for the video on Napa Yankees YouTube page. I just could not find it. And this is where Umar had a guy up there doing security, and basically he was sitting on a little chair with a little drink, and it was sitting out just sitting out there in the grass. But that only went on for a matter of months. And then since that time, Umar hasn't had any real type of security to date, including these cameras. I don't even know. Ain't no telling. He may just have them out there just for show. He should be able to produce video footage he's never have of any of the vandalism that's taking place on either one side of the street now at this point, but he's never shown anything. Okay, thanks, Black Wolf. I believe that's this video. And if it's not, I'll find it. I thought it was two videos where he shows vandalism or alleged vandalism, and then there were two videos where he's speaking about it. We did the first one yesterday, and then this is the second one. I believe that this is the one where the children show up. Okay, we're gonna see. And thanks, Black Wolf, for super chat. Here we go.
How would the children know to go in there? The door was closed. The doors are closed. How did the children?
Okay, they're closed, but they're not locked. Whose fault is that, Cookie Crush Chat? And why would you do that? You're going to go travel for 30 days and leave the door unlocked? Well, let me go over here. And again, shout out to Brother James. If everyone can just say shout out to Brother James, salute. Look at this.
Was born, I come. Malcolm X debated at the Oxford Union 1964. King Kong consciousness debates at the Oxford Union 2025.
See, this is narcissism right here.
The struggle continues, brothers and sisters. The struggle continues. Senegal. I got to get back to Senegal. This is my 20th anniversary, my first visit to Senegal. I need to get back to Senegal.
What is Senegal?
I need to get back to Senegal. Uncle Shannon Sharp got Snow Bunny, but we're not going to leave him out there. He's still black. Uncle Shannon Sharp got Snow Bunny, but we're not going to leave him out there. He's still black. Uncle Shannon Sharp got Snow Bunny, but we're not going to leave him out there. He's still black. Let me double check. I'm just double checking this door, my brother. Got him. Sometimes I leave them open by mistake.
See, this whole story that he's telling is all based upon lies, because in my opinion, that vandalism inside of the gym, the large gym, in my opinion, it happened way before what he's trying to make it appear as. So this idea that these little boys broke in or whatever, is he saying that they're the ones who did the vandalism, and that how did they know that the door was open? I don't get it. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe he explains it more as this video goes. Let's go.
No, young blood. Quick question, young fellas. Quick question. How long? Okay, so I'm Dr. Umar, right? Say Dr.
See, notice that they don't even know who Umar is.
Umar. That's me.
Say Dr. Umar. Boy, this is a damn shame. These boys don't know who he is. They ride through here all the time, too. You can tell.
Okay. I was gone for 30 days, right? 30. My question to y'all, how long had that door been open for y'all to go in and play? Would you?
What? How long has the door been open so that y'all go in there and play? And he was gone for 30 days? Umar, you forgot to lock the door? You know what I think? I'm going to tell y'all something else. Because in one of these videos, I don't know if it was yesterday. Yeah, it had to have been yesterday because we hadn't played this video. He said he has to get a locksmith to get some new keys, right? Umar got keys out there that he's giving to people because it's the kicking spot. So this is to say that, is it possible that Umar forgot to lock that door to get into the small gym? Yeah, but it's also possible that he gave keys to other people because it's the kicking spot by people he'd be blazing up with. And that they were the ones, unbeknownst to Umar, that went up there and was in there, who knows, sleeping in there, blazing up in there, whatever the case may be. Ain't no telling what else. And they're the ones who forgot to lock the door. And Umar, he traveling. He over there in Europe and shit for 30 days or wherever he was at. That's what it sounds like to me.
Quick question. How long? Okay, so I'm Dr. Umar, right? Say Dr. Umar. That's me. Okay. I was gone for 30 days, right? 30. My question to y'all, how long had that door been open for y'all to go in and play? Would you say a week, a couple days, a couple weeks? Because I was only going
for like 2-3 months.
Nah, not 2-3 months, sweetie.
They were in there playing? Is that what they're saying? That they were actually in there playing? Umar, you can go to jail for that. You know that? These are dilapidated buildings on a vacant property list. It's not only a health hazard for these kids, but it's a safety hazard too. Hit the one, y'all. Is that what he's saying? I don't know. Quick chat. Is that what he's saying? That these kids were in, it would have to be the small gym where the vandalism took place, because that's how he's trying to frame all this. And that they had access, and the one boy said 3 months or what have you. Listen, I'm trying to understand it. So I'm really trying, Deron. Cheridale. I'm trying my best. Musical Darius. Musical Curtis. Them kids don't know nothing. They don't even know who he is. He's been there for 6 years and 4 months, and they don't even know who he is. Yeah, he sure did. He said, no, it wasn't 2 or 3 months. No. Well, you asked them, let them answer. How's it going, Jessica? It's just crazy. The whole situation is crazy. None of it makes sense. But again, Umar, he just lying. Okay, Andre, let's go.
That's me. Okay. I was gone for 30 days, right? 30. My question to y'all, how long had that door been open for y'all to go in and play? Would you say a week, a couple days, a couple weeks? Because I was only going
For like 2-3 months.
Oh my God. They've been playing in there for 2 or 3 months, and them kids nobody should be up in there. That's crazy.
Nah, not 2-3 months, sweetie, because I was here a month ago and I checked the doors all the time.
A month ago.
They weren't open a month.
It was like 2-3 weeks ago.
2 or 3. Okay, so they might have broke in.
Okay, he's saying they might have broken in. So he's not saying that it's the boys. These boys. That's not what he's saying there.
That makes sense. 2-3 weeks. Because I was going for 4. Say that again.
It was other kids too. They were over there. We saw big.
What in the world? Other kids too? So they're saying, I think they were in there then, right? But they're saying there was other kids in there too. Yeah, he said, sweetie, right? Nope. Nah. I don't even say that to my own sons. I say it to my daughters all the time. No, I don't say it to my own sons. That's just weirdo shit right there. But we're gonna let that go.
So they might have broke in okay, that makes sense. 2-3 weeks. Because I was going for 4. Say that again.
It was other kids too. They were going there. We saw big kids do this to the door and they boom.
Yeah, but they didn't break it open though. They wasn't the ones who broke it open, because whoever broke it open, they had to use equipment.
What in the world? This is crazy. This is so crazy.
Okay, I appreciate you young people. Y'all take care now. All right.
They looking for the kids?
No. We ain't looking for the kids. We looking for the grown people who broke in.
Yeah, I know. He really is. He incriminating himself. Listen to this fool incriminating himself. He should not have. No one should be in those abandoned buildings, period. They're on the vacant property list. L&I has been an issue. Licensing inspections has been an issue. There's black mold issues. Ain't no telling what else. Who knows? Asbestos, air quality. Everything's all dusty inside that small gym. That's what he's referring to. Everything's just dust all over the place. Ain't no telling what's going on in there. But because the buildings aren't secure to tie to what they're not secured like they should be, which tied to what we talked about at the beginning of this live stream, almost done too. People do have the ability to gain access, but it's not uncommon. This was taking place for 4 years prior to Umar acquiring these trap vandals, and it's also something that has occurred over these last 6 years and 2 months. So no, I'm not surprised by that, but it is a legal issue here, wherein you have children who are gaining access, or even grown people for that matter, gaining access to an abandoned building that should be secured by the property owner, which would be Umar. And it's also, there's liability issues here too, because if one of those children gets injured, or if they become ill because of black mold or exposure to what have you, lead paint, ain't no telling. If one of them gets bitten by, let's say, a spider that's in there, that's and who knows what happens as a consequence of that. Who's on the hook for that? Umar is. He's. That's what I'm saying. He's not as smart as he thinks he is, because he's incriminating himself. Listen, if the city of Wilmington want to come down on Umar big time, they could just take this video right here and then show the condition of the gym where these kids were in there playing. No ventilation, no HVAC, no electricity. Come on now. Ain't no telling what else is going on up in there. Ain't no telling. Boy, I tell you, Umar, boy. Anyway, thanks, SH Play, for the super chat. Bougie Barbie says, Lenon, have you ever done deep research on Umar's old boarding school? I bet that offers some insight about why Umar is how he is today. Yes, Umar has he's talked about it too. I did look into it. I talk about it a bit inside of the documentary. It's not the central point, though, to address. But Umar has, over the years in different videos, talked about his experience to a certain degree. And one of the things he said, I heard him say a couple of times, in fact, that it was very difficult for him. And I think what he's really referring to is it's corporal. It's very strict. He's away from his family. He's separated from his mother, that he has extreme attachment issues to this day. That's why in February 2019, he says he doesn't have any friends. What he has is his mother. At that point, what was he, 40, maybe 44 years old at that time, something like that. That's wild. He lives in his mama closet when he can at the age of 50. That's a traumatizing thing. But I'm gonna say something else. I have a sense that things happen to Umar. I'm not gonna say too much, but I believe that things happened to Umar of abusive nature while he was there. Do I have any evidence to prove that? No. But in my opinion, that's my belief. Okay, that Umar experienced some traumatizing things while he had traumatizing experiences while he was there. Real quick, he was shipped away I've heard him say ninth grade. I've also heard him say eighth grade. If it was in the eighth grade, he was 13 years old. He was shipped away, and so he's there from 13 until he's 18. So roughly 5 years, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Yeah, 5 years away, separated from his family. Yeah, I think, and the way that he expressed it was like, yeah, we had some hard times, very difficult times at that school, blah, blah, blah. I can tell. He been through some things. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Bougie Barbie, for the super chat. Did I get everyone? We're almost done here too. Parby says, not everyone can be a man of integrity like you, and it takes all kinds. If you have a plan for insurance, you will spend the money. Yes, scammer. First of all, let me say that I'm not perfect and I've had my faults. It's just that I've tried my best to do better. I was never been like on the track how Umar, not that trajectory, but I've made a lot of mistakes in life, and I used to have a lot of regrets. I've been able to resolve some of that because it can wear on you. Okay, you can actually destroy yourself just by holding on to regrets. Let us do the best that we know how, even if it's not the best that we can do. What we can do is the best that we know how at any given time, and I can say at least that. Could I have done better? Yeah, but based upon where I was at then, I did the best that I knew how. So I just want to say that first, that I'm not perfect, and it's not like I make mistakes. But when it comes to this Umar Johnson stuff, I'm very careful, and I try to give Umar the benefit of the doubt. I try my best to be fair with Umar, and then sometimes, and actually, it's many times, I give him grace. I really do. I'm not a hater. That's not it. That's just what Umar, he calls people haters because he doesn't want to deal with the facts. He doesn't deal with the receipts. He doesn't want to deal with the information that exposes him for who he is. Really, what Umar needs is he needs to look at himself in the mirror and see the truth in terms of who he is. I shouldn't have to do it. Cook Crochet shouldn't have to do it. Part B, you shouldn't have to do it either. No one else should have to do it. Umar should be man enough to do that himself. See, but he has not done that. I don't think he ever will. If you have a plan for insurance, you will spend the money. Yes. The thing is, Umar can't say that he didn't have the money to get insurance. Let me rephrase that. Umar can't say that he hasn't collected enough money to get insurance. He has. But the money's gone. He spent most of it on himself. If Umar had a plan, that would include a budget, right? It would be an itemized budget, right? Broken down. Everything that needs to be repaired, broken down. General contractor would do all that. How many HVAC units do we need? How much work is going to need to take place? How much is going to cost? How many man hours is going to take to get all this fixed for the HVAC duct work and everything? Okay, we got electricity work that needs to be done on both sides of the street. How much is it going to cost? How many man hours? Who's going to negotiate prices and all? What about the water quality? Have I had someone come out to look at the water quality? Who am I going to pay to come do that? So we can see whether or not we should even be running water inside of this abandoned business. It's been sitting for 4 years in 2019, and now at this point, they've been sitting for a decade. What about renovations? Okay, he's talking floors and doors still. Okay, well, wait a minute. Why are you just figuring this out? Last year, he was talking about, what are we going to do with this room? I think we're going to turn this into a music studio. There's no plan. But even if you want to do that, that should be part of the plan. And then that should also trigger in his mind, okay, if I'm going to have a music studio in here, state of the art, shouldn't I have insurance? If I'm going to be storing these books, 5,000 books, some of them are old and out of print and so you always got to blow things out of proportion. Well, shouldn't you have insurance? A contingency plan? So that if someone comes in here and vandalizes and pours paint over here or tears up this or throws a rock, a boulder rock, as he says, through a window, that I have insurance in place so that I'll just simply have to file a claim because I already have that. I have that as part of the plan. I have that as part of the budget. He doesn't have that. He never has. If you don't, Dave Ramsey says, if you don't have a plan for your money, it's going to leave. You should know exactly what you're going to do with every single dime and manage it. What he says is be something to the effect of be a loyal steward of the money. You take care of it. Can we say that Umar has done that? No. When you're in survival mode, you ain't trying to be a steward of money. You're trying to spend it to survive. You're trying to get it to survive. And that's what Umar's been doing. People think he's going to open up a school. He's not interested in opening up a school. If he was serious, he would have opened up something. We talked about this yesterday. I told people, Par B, if the community gave you $1,618,354, which is the bare minimum that we can say here that Umar has collected based upon his IRS filings. Again, he put down in 2000 on his 2020 filings that he had $518,000 in cash sitting in a non-interest bearing account. So we can say that he had this after he purchased these abandoned buildings, after he spent about $425,000, that he has in cash $518,000 sitting in an account. And then in 2020, he tells the IRS, excuse me, that's in 2020. That's what he has on the 2020 paperwork. And then what he says is that he received in donations for the 2020 year $177,892, for 2021 $116,585, in 2022 $121,646, in 2023 $204,822. We're not counting 2024. We're not counting 2025. And in truth, we're not counting 2014, 15, 16, or 17 either, because that money was associated with a totally different EIN number. You add these numbers up, and we're excluding 2014, 15, 16, and 17, excuse me, 2015, 16, and 17, and really 2014, because he was collecting money in 2014. We're excluding all of that. Umar should have had a bare minimum of $1,618,354. Part B, if the community gave you $1,618,354, would you have been able to start some sort of a school somewhere? Maybe dealing with 5 children, maybe 10. But see, you would have a plan. You would have a plan in terms of what your goal is with the school. You would have a plan in terms of who's going to be helping you. You have a plan in terms of who's on the board of directors. You have a plan in terms of maintaining the EIN number, by making sure that you're filing proper paperwork with the IRS, which Umar Johnson has not done consistently. You also have a plan for what you're going to do with the money, but not Umar. See, the difference is you wouldn't be doing it for survival. Umar, everything is about survival. Someone today, Parby, you can drop $2 million in Umar Johnson's hand today, tax-free, and he still wouldn't have a school open in 2026 or 2027 or 2028. Okay. And why? Because he's a scammer. Okay. That's all it comes down to. He's a scammer trying to survive. Thank you, Parby, for some chat. User 225 says, Lenor, what would you do if you found out Umar conversed with your boys the way he's doing to these boys in this video? Well, first of all, I would never have my boys around Umar. The other thing is that my children know that Umar is a scammer because they see these TikTok videos too. These younger people, they be clowning Umar. In fact, earlier today, my son, he said, Dad, look, I found this video of Umar on TikTok, and he played it. Umar was ranting about something. And he says, Dad, is the school open yet? And we just start laughing. I didn't even have to say nothing. They know that he's a scammer. I wouldn't have my children around Umar, period. It just would not happen. You know, I would not have, if I have the power, I wouldn't have any children around Umar. I wouldn't have any women around him either. And he don't deal with men. He don't deal with real men. He don't do it because he'll get checked. He'll get G-checked real quick by a real man. See? So that scenario, it just would not happen, you know. And Umar, he'll talk to however he wants to anybody, but he ain't gonna talk to no real man like that. That's just how Umar is. That's why he mainly targets single mothers. He targets women who are in desperate situation because he knows that he can manipulate them easier. See? But real men. Thanks, user 225. Okay, we got 5 minutes. I got to get up out of here. CH Play says the property should be enclosed. Maybe you're saying foreclosed. Oh no, I see what you're saying. It should be enclosed. Yeah, the property security should have been in place. And I said this back in 2019. The first thing that Umar should have done is erected a fence. Because that's normally what happens when you have a construction site where there's a walkway where there's pedestrians that walk by. And in this case, there's people who walk by all the time. You would set up. There's a Chick-fil-A, and it got so much. It's not near here, but I've passed by it. orthodontics area. It was a Chick-fil-A, and it only had one drive-through thing where you go through the drive-through, and it got so much business and the traffic was backing up that they shut it down. And it was probably shut down for about maybe 5 months, maybe 6 months. And the first thing they did was they erected a fence over the whole whole area, and then they expanded it. Okay, they added an extra lane. They made the building bigger, and so they can manage, because there was a gang of people going through that Chick-fil-A. But for security purposes, and also to protect people on the outside, protect them from getting inside and harming themselves. Just like, see, Umar said, the little boys getting into the abandoned buildings. He's self-incriminating. He's incriminating himself. He should have erected a fence in 2019, and not just a chain link fence that you can see through, but then have mesh over it to cover so that you can't even see inside. And he should have did that day one in 2019. Here we are 6 years and 4 months later. He hasn't even done that. He's not serious. See? The building should be enclosed. They should be secured. Cameras, electricity on both sides of the streets, no electricity on the other side of the street. He never established that. But see, Umar's not serious. And like Parby was saying, he don't have a plan. See? His plan is a scam, because he's a scammer. Thanks, SH Play. D-All says, if one of those kids got hurt in those unsecured traps, he'd have a problem on his hands. Yeah, but you know what he would do is he would blame other people. That's what he would do. He'll probably say, their parents ain't watching them. These black parents, they don't take care of their kids. Because that's how he is. He would never hold himself personally accountable. People have projected too. They've said that they've speculated. They said that if and when Umar opens up these trap vandals in Wilmington, Delaware, that there's going to be all types of issues just based upon how he behaves. And another thing is, they said, that there will be lawsuits for sexual harassment for these mamas that come up there with their kids, because Umar's always talking about sex and cookies and all this kind of stuff. Why would anyone, and not to be like this, but real talk, why would anyone send money to someone who's claims to want to open up a school in Wilmington, Delaware, wherein he don't even care about the children up over there, to the point that nothing is secure, and they're getting up in there, and who knows what's going on up in there? See, I'll be watching them CSI shows, and a lot of times when it comes to stuff taking place, it'd be in abandoned buildings. But Umar don't care. Yeah, he would have a whole lot of problems on his hand. Real talk. Thank you. That's all good point. Parby also says, Lenon, that was a compliment. Life is a journey. I wasn't implying long-term planning, just scam. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't misinterpret. I just was running my mouth. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very clear that I still have a long way to go. And my objective at this point in life is just to set my children up for higher levels of success. And they're all doing a lot better than I was at their age. And part of it is because they have a two-parent household. There's no drugs or alcohol or levels of abuse. Me and my wife, we don't fight or nothing like that. They get to see a loving relationship between their mother and father. It's just a different dynamic. Excuse me, it's a different dynamic. The point is that it's only through introspection that we can do better, right? And I take integrity is very important to me. The problem with Umar is that there's no introspection, and part of it is because he has no self-awareness. But that's a mental health issue too. He's a serious problem. And you're right, life is a journey, right? Thank you so much, Parby. Okay, let's start winding this down. Thank you all for the super chats. I appreciate it. And shout out to the Cookie Crush chat, undefeated. So this conversation is just for fun. He'll nevertheless pass inspection. Yeah, he'll never pass inspection. I'm of the opinion that Umar hasn't even had people come up there from the beginning to do an assessment of what needs to take place to get him on the right track to passing any level of inspection. Now, real quick, SH Play. I don't know what those people are called per se, but when it comes to construction, normally you have people come in to do an assessment, especially if you're doing renovation, to see what exactly needs to be renovated in the first place. I apologize. They come in to see what exactly needs to be renovated, what needs to be taken out completely, what needs to be put in, just to get you on track to getting, let's say, a certificate of occupancy, or passing, an electric inspection, or passing an HVAC inspection, so forth and so on. You have to start with that in the first place. Umar never did that. That's why he's still fumbling around doing things in the wrong order. There's no point in painting before, because there's still so much work that needs to be done. There's really no point in even trying to change out doors and stuff that he attempted to do, because there's so much other work that needs to be done, including IT infrastructure. See, the IT infrastructure should have gone into when the electrical work was being done, right? See, I don't think he ever had anyone come in to do an initial assessment to figure out exactly what needs to be itemized, what needs to be done point by point over time, just to get on the right track. All right. Thanks, SH Play. All right. Okay, we got to start winding this down. Thank you guys so much again for tuning on in. Yeah, we may have to do part 3, y'all. Let's get through as much of this, and we will do part 3 tomorrow. Let's get to as much of this as we possibly can. I'll be going here let's go for another 17 minutes, but that's going to be it. We won't be able to get to all of this. We'll come back and finish this up tomorrow. Okay, I apologize. Here we go. I got to clear my throat. Give me one moment.
She said 3 weeks ago. She said 3 weeks ago. She said, Princess said 3 weeks ago. So they broke in while I was on my way to England. They might have broke in when I was at UCLA. They might have broke in when I was at UCLA. Somebody said the police broke in. I'm not putting it past nobody, but I'm going to look at the cameras. It is on camera. I just have to take time and find it. It is on.
How is it going to be on camera when there's no electricity on that side of the street, Umar? Do I have this wrong? Is he saying that in the small school that was broken into as well? See, because what Umar could be doing, because he's a pathological liar. What he could be doing is what he could be at least attempting to do is to say that the small school was broken into, and there were kids in there, and that he has cameras and electricity on that side of the street, so that's how he would be able to see who actually broke in. Okay, but that's on one side of the street. Follow me on this. That's on one side of the street. Let me do it over here. That's this side of the street. But then he shows graffiti, which is on the exterior, but then he shows a video of the inside of the large gym on the other side of the street. And he hasn't shown the other side of the street in over half a decade. Is it possible that what he's attempting to do is to equate what took place a year ago, year and a half ago in that small gym? Because that stuff is caked into, it's baked into the floor. He's trying to attach that to somehow what took place on the other side of the street in the small school. I don't know, because there's no cameras on that side of the street where the gym is at, the large gym that he showed, where he has a big back TV. There's no cameras inside. In point of fact, there's not even electricity up over there on that side of the street. So how would he have cameras that would work to be able to get that video footage? See what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell y'all, Umar, he's a con man and a scam artist. He never tells the whole truth. Let's keep going.
Camera. We have cameras around both buildings.
Okay, so he's saying he has cameras around both buildings, but the other side of the street doesn't have any electricity, and that would be where the large school and the large gym is located. There's no electricity over there. So how are you video recording things on that side of the street? See, this guy, he's something else. Yeah, that's what I don't think. That's what I'm saying. Again, he's smoking mirrors. Let's keep going.
Peace, Baba. It is on camera. It is on camera.
If it's on camera, show it to us. Before you get up here running your mouth, you should have already reviewed it if it's that serious.
But I have to take time and go through 30 days of footage.
Oh my God. He don't even be up there. But didn't we do a show? How much time is Umar spending up there per year? And I was saying he's everywhere except up there at these abandoned buildings. Y'all think people take him serious like he won't open up a school? He's on a perpetual vacation. He just go up here to beg for money. He'd be here for a couple of days, stay inside of mama closet, then he off to the next.
I have to go through 30 days of footage. They destroyed my private book collection. I'm waiting on a locksmith. We getting new locks today.
See that? Why are you getting new locks? Why didn't you know that the door was open? And if you locked it, even though it's possible that you didn't, who has the key to get up in there? And whoever it is may have just never locked it again. That's why them kids. Again, that's crazy that the kids are even getting up in there in the first place. You know how crazy that is?
The police said they're going to try on the doors. The police said they're going to pay close attention to the Frederick Douglass High School.
They're going to what? They're going to try on the doors. What does that mean?
It's on camera, but I have to take time and go through 30 days of footage. I have to go through 30
Yo, Goofy, you ain't going through nothing. Cut it
days
out.
of footage. They destroyed my private book collection.
Why was it in there? Because you're homeless. It's storage space.
I'm waiting on a locksmith. We getting new locks today. The police said they're going to try on the doors. The police said.
What do you mean try on the doors? What does that mean? Anyway.
They're going to pay close attention to the Frederick Douglass High School until we get the electric on.
Until you get the electric on, but you said there's cameras over there. If there's no electricity, how's the camera going to work? Solar power? Whoa, boy, he a trip, boy. He wow. He just be making up he just making up shit. Does this make sense to anybody in the Cookie Crush chat? If it makes sense, hit the 1. It don't even make sense.
We have cameras around both buildings. Peace, Baba.
No electricity.
It is on camera. It is on camera. But I have to take time and go through 30 days of footage. I have to go through 30 days of footage. They destroyed my private book collection. I'm waiting on a locksmith. We getting new locks today. The police said they're going to try on the doors. The police said they're going to pay close attention to the Frederick Douglass High School until we get the electric on.
Okay, so you've gone to the police already, school to prison pipeline. Where's the police report, Umar? Why don't you show it?
Police said they're going to pay special attention to the Frederick Douglass High School. Somebody said Elon Musk broke into the building because I beat his father in the debate. Somebody said Elon Musk broke into the high school because I beat his father in the debate.
Here we go.
Somebody said Elon Musk broke into the high school. The saddest thing for me, though.
What, Umar?
Is nobody from the city bothered to call me and tell me. That's the saddest thing for me.
Wait a minute. Why? How would they know what's going? What are you talking about? See, that Umar, he don't want to hold himself accountable for anything. You should have been up there in the first place. But you always traveling. But now it's just people in the city of Wilmington. It's y'all's fault. Didn't I talk about narcissism? He never holds himself accountable. He has to blame everybody. Now he's blaming the people in people in Wilmington. What does that got to do with anything, Umar? They didn't notify you? How would they know that this is going on? And how they don't know you, but they got to notify you? I'm sorry, I got to text my wife back. She had texted me earlier. I just didn't even check my phone. He was ordering the groceries for the kids. So now it's the people of Wilmington's fault He really is. He's something else. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. Look at him. Funky old school behind him. Look at him, mowed up there next on top of the school sign, little school letters.
He said Elon Musk broke into the high school. The saddest thing for me, though, is nobody from the city bothered to call me and tell me. That's the saddest thing for me.
Umar, you such a goofy. And so y'all cue the violins.
That's the saddest thing for me.
It's so sad.
Yes.
What are you doing, Umar? Hold on a second. Look at this guy. Yeah. Oh, shit, this guy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Look at him. That jaw acting up. Y'all see this? What video, James? What video am I missing? Can you email it to me? Let me check my email. Am I missing the video? Maybe that's why nothing's making sense. Oh, I did. I missed the video. Someone just sent it. Okay. I apologize, everyone. Well, we're not too far into this one anyway, but I'll remember where to start because Umar, his jaw acting. That jaw, boy, it's tweaking. You know what I'm saying? Umar, that jaw is tweaking. Okay, so I missed the video. Oh, Umar chasing the kids out the what? He chased the kids out the building. Hold on a second. I'm skipping through. I almost want to see if he. Yeah, I totally missed this. Oh no! What in the world? Oh no! Listen, y'all. We can't do this video now because I'm gonna download it, but I gotta blur these kids out. I'm not gonna watch and listen to what happens. Oh my God, this is nuts. And I'm so sorry, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow with part 3. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm downloading this. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed this. I'm downloading it right now. So this would be the second video, right? And I'm playing the third, but I thought that it was the second. Okay, because I thought it was only 2 videos. Okay, I'm downloading this right now. Umar Johnson, Vandalism, number 3. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and I'll do it after we finish this. We're gonna finish this live stream in about 5 minutes because I want to stay on in sequence here. We're only 5 minutes into this video. Then I'm sure it'll start making more sense to me. I'm trying to figure it out, but it just now I understand why. I'm downloading it now. What I'll do is after this live stream, I'm gonna put it into Premiere Pro. I'm gonna blur the kids out of it, and then tomorrow we'll start with that video. Okay, and then we'll have enough time. We'll start with that video. We'll get right on into it. I won't be going off and running my mouth. We'll get through that video, and then we'll do the video that I just started. We did about 5 minutes of it, but we'll start from the beginning so that we have it all in sequence, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, at some point down the line, what we'll do is we'll do a video where we cover all of them in sequence, and I'm not going to be talking about anything else, and we'll just cover everything. Yeah, and I was looking here, and if there's anyone here who if you haven't seen this, I'm skimming through. It's on a 60 million TV on YouTube, and there's children behind Umar, but then all of a sudden you see all these kids. Yeah, this is crazy. And they're, oh my God. Umar, you can go to jail for this. They were in the school. And from what I'm seeing, this is the side of the street where the gym, the large gym is at, right? Yeah, because he has signs on the other side. They must have been inside of the large building, what he calls a large school, and there's no electricity on over there. They're in the dark. And he ain't done nothing over there. No mold remediation, no renovation whatsoever. Those buildings been sitting vacant now for over a decade. And Umar there's kids up in there. Okay, we got some stuff to get into tomorrow. Thank you, James. Okay, for letting me know. Okay, listen, this Umar Johnson saga is crazy. It is. I'll continue to cover it. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone. The journey through the Umar Johnson saga is crazy enough, but I'm really appreciative of the support and the camaraderie that we have here in the Cookie Crush chat. As we've gone through this Umar Johnson saga, there's been so many ups and downs with all of this, and it appears as if Umar, he's at an all-time low with this. You got kids up in there inside of abandoned buildings, and Umar has no control. He has no security in place. In addition to protecting the buildings from vandalism, alleged vandalism, he's not even in a position to where he's thinking about protecting the children up out there from getting up in there and causing harm to themselves. Not purposefully, but getting in there in these trap battles. Y'all saw what it looked like in there, right? One last thing. If there are children getting in there and playing around and stuff and maybe vandalizing, what else may be happening in there while Umar's traveling around the world? It's actually gets scary now. It's scary. All right. Tomorrow, the plan is, I'll set up the live stream a little bit later on this evening. The plan is to start with, and I just downloaded to start with the actual second video. I'll blur out the children. And then after that, we'll get to the third and final video, and we'll get all caught up with this Umar Johnson saga with the alleged vandalism. Like I said before, I don't think Umar did vandalize. I don't think he did. Okay, there's a poll question. Go and get your final votes in. And the poll question is, do you think that Umar Johnson vandalized the small gym? Okay, I'll close this out in just a moment. Already 407 votes. I don't think he did. I also believe that the vandalism that took place in the large gym took place a while ago. Could be a year and a half. And that Umar is using it now simply to get money out of people. Nothing more. Based upon the forensic evidence that we were able to see inside of the video, that stuff, whatever the books and all that stuff, that was all of that, I believe that actually took place a while ago. Furthermore, it has been proven without a shadow of a doubt during this live stream that Umar moved his belongings in 2019 from his residence that he got evicted from in Philadelphia and moved them into the larger building across the street that he calls the high school and the large gym. That he moved his belongings in there, including that big back TV. What kind of man? And we'll leave it right there. Thank you all so much for tuning on in. Thanks everyone who sent in super chats during this live stream. Okay, I really do appreciate it. Okay, I do not take it for granted. I also want to thank if anyone sent in super cash apps or PayPal or super stickers. My cash app and PayPal information listed down below in the description of this video. Let me go ahead and close off this poll. Did Umar Johnson vandalize the small gym? 72% said yes. 28% said no. I'm going to close that poll out so that it can be archived here on YouTube. And we got up to 485 likes. Let's see if we can get 15 more to get to 500 before the show is over with. Okay, Cookie Crush chat is undefeated as we always do.
Oh my gosh, so you're fancy, huh?
Yeah, black community activist.
Ah,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
well, good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I'll turn this down so I can give some shout outs to the Cookie Crush chat, which is undefeated, but the Cookie Crush chat is so fancy. Yeah, that was Khalifa. Leave me with no electricity. That's crazy. That's his smart TV, but with no electricity. Thanks, Power B, for tuning on in. Appreciate you. Vagabond. What's up, old James? Why y'all won't like the video? I know, just hate. Y'all just hate. Don't be like Umar, okay? Yeah, he is 3, but he blames everyone else, including these little kids. Yeah, let's hit that like button. We're at 499. We're about to get to 500 shortly. Like Umar said, he's about to get us to 1 million shortly. Thanks, Ike. Sweet Pea, a lady. BH. Mr. Kiara. Your kids will see this. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Over and out, everyone. Until next time. Thank you, Miss Independent, my way. Sun Kiss, Melanin. James Dean. Thanks, James Dean. Shout out to James Dean. I tried to give you some flowers today. My brother, appreciate you. A lady is independent. Karen Williams in the building as well. That strong big back is a strong. It is not strong, it's strong. That strong big back. Oh man. Thanks, Queen Scorpio, for tuning on in.
Want cookies. Crush.
Thanks, Key Logger, for tuning on in. JC Morgan.
Crush.
John's in the building as well. Techie Demigod. Balls. Fields. Untapped. We can chat, hit the like. Yeah, we got the 500. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. God, little princess, thanks for handling this. Appreciate the sis. Matt, stay on. Appreciate you. Sierra Indel. D, that is all with the muscles. Black Mario, thank you so much for tuning on in again. I appreciate y'all. Who needs electricity when you can stay lit 24/7? Yeah, you right about that. Turn that heat down. What's up, Jazzy Jazz? Guys in the building as well. Sharif, thanks for tuning on in. Sharif believes that Umar did it. Yeah, good night there, all the Cookie Crunch chatters in the building. Shout out to Information Man. That's the homie right there. Much love, much respect. Thank you, SH Play, for tuning on in. Thanks for all the support, too. I appreciate it. Booked and balls up. We working, and we gonna be working tomorrow too. Okay, make sure y'all come on back tomorrow. I hope it'll be the grand finale. We'll get back to the second video and get to it where Umar is. They said he chased the kids out of the abandoned building. I ain't seen it. We gonna get to that tomorrow. Then we go back. We're gonna back that up back to back Memphis with the third and final video, and we should be done with this segment of the Umar Johnson saga. Okay, thank y'all again for tuning on in. Thanks to the moms for hand. It's possible he was in there gnawing on shit. You know, the Beaver be gnawing on shit. Lenon Beaver was up there gnawing on. Okay, thank y'all so much for tuning on in. Shout out to Cooker Shack. Cooker Shack's undefeated. Love y'all. Y'all take care. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace.